All right, what's up, y'all? Back at it. Make sure my mic is good. Unmute. Make sure I got my mic. All right, y'all. So we back at it. Hey, what's up, Lou? Missed you on the last stream a few minutes ago, but I'm back at it, getting ready to do another deposition. This one gonna be about a couple hours, so y'all get ready to settle in. This one gonna be a minute, so I want to make sure everything is good to go over here. Yeah, make sure everything all good. Okay. How's the mic sound? Is it good? Is it make sure it's on this time. Okay. All right. Does that sound? I was there. Cheers from Australia. Oh yeah, you was on last stream. Sounds good. Okay, good. All right, let's get started, y'all. This is from, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. By2Side, the By2Side channel. And this is lawsuit settle officer disposition exposes policing failures, part 1. You already know.
Pictures of other people's vehicles and license plates, which is against the law. Taking photography. Not here, not right now, okay? Okay, what are you going to do if I don't stop? What is your purpose of you being here right now? You have an accident scene, go deal with it. Okay, this accident's said and done. These records are now. Then walk away, you're dismissed. I don't need you here. Okay, leave. I'm not leaving anywhere. You need to go.
A federal lawsuit filed by Rolando Reyes against Lake Jackson and several of its current and former police officers have been settled. Here is a recap of the incident and full testimony of now former Officer Cagle.
What did you say now? I asked you, why are you here? I said I'm taking photos. Okay. Are you allowed on this accident scene? That's what I'm asking you. You're asking me if I'm allowed to be here? Yes, sir. Okay. What do you think? Okay. I need you to leave, please. I'm not going to leave. Mendoza, your accident scene. You're taking pictures of other people's vehicles and license plates, which is against the law. What are you doing right now? Taking photography. Okay. Not here. Not right now. Okay. Okay. What are you going to do if I don't stop? Okay. All I'm asking you to do is go over there. You're not going to stop me from taking photography. Okay. You work for the newspaper? I don't have to work for the newspaper to take public photography. Okay. But taking license plate pictures of license plates, you're not allowed to do. You are also by law allowed to lie to me. That's incorrect information. No, I think you need to relearn the law on that. You actually can, and I can take all the videos of license plates that I want. Okay. You go ahead and do that. I will. Do you have your ID on you? Do you have your ID on you? Now you're on our accident scene, okay. So I want you to identify yourself. I want you to identify yourself right now. Officer Cagle. Batch number? 635. And you? Now watch how I'm not going to give you my license. Okay. Then I need you to remove yourself from this. I'm not going to remove myself from this accident scene. I need a supervisor out here to scene now.
Hey, what you doing out here?
You wanted to come here and intimidate me? Sir, let me tell you something right now. No, sir, this is not your accident scene. This is all public property. Okay? You're coming up here taking pictures? Yeah. First of all, lower your voice now. Sir, I'm talking the same way. No. You came here with a bad energy. No, I asked what you were doing. You're going to lower your voice now when you talk to me. You sat here and said I can be wherever I want. Anywhere I want, yes. All I asked you is why you're here taking photographs of other people's property. None of your goddamn business. Oh, okay. Yeah. So are you going to identify yourself since you're part of this accident? Absolutely not. Okay. And why is that? Because you are not my dad. Who do you think you are? And you do not belong in this accident. I can be anywhere I want. You need to leave. I'm not leaving. Mendoza? Sir. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Okay, you're not going to tell me that you're not going to intimidate me out of here. I don't understand what the purpose is. What is your purpose of you being here right now? Okay, so you have an accident scene. Go deal with it. Okay, this accident's said and done. These records then walk away. You're dismissed. I don't need you here. Okay, so this accident's over. Why are you then get the fuck out of here. I don't need you here. You're trying to intimidate me? 2 officers with guns? wasn't touching anything on that. Then back away, because if I had come to you this close, you would have arrested my ass. You're already on our scene, which is interfering in my investigation.
One thing I noticed is that when you bring up that the cop has a gun, they try to dismiss that, like, oh, don't worry about my gun, or it's not about guns. It's not about guns. Don't worry about my gun. It's fine. They don't understand. Without the gun, the taser, and the weapons, why would somebody listen to them? Why would I care what you got to say? You can't do anything. The only reason that we listen is because you have a gun. You have the advantage of having a gun and being able to use that gun with immunity. That's the reason. That's the only factor of why people will listen to. Most people will listen to cops. Why would a grown man listen to another grown man tell him what to do without no factor tipping the scale in favor of it? You just another person walking up to the street trying to tell him what to do. The only reason that people consider listening is because they know that the cop has a gun and has immunity when it comes to using force. And they try to act like it's not a factor that they got a gun. Oh, I got a gun, and oh no. The only reason you're able to walk around with your chest poked out and feel like you can violate people the way you do is because you have a weapon, and people don't comply with your commands. You might use that gun, use a taser, or excessive force and be justified. That's the only reason. So without that gun and badge, most of these officers, nobody would ever listen to them otherwise. I know I take example of me in the building and dealing with Officer Mercado at that City Hall in Tampa. I wouldn't listen to Mercado if he didn't have a gun in immunity, because for one, he was wrong. For two, he doesn't give any intimidation factor, none of that. Which most cops aren't like, you don't look at, I might not want to mess with that guy. I don't think of that with most cops. The only reason that you have that thought in mind is because they have a gun.
I'm not interfering with any of your shit. You need to put your finger out of my face. You need to back up for me then. I don't need to back up. This is my scene. This is his scene. No, you and your scene, man. I'm standing right here. You need to leave now. I'm not leaving anywhere. Leave. I'm not leaving anywhere. You need to go. I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm not.
What year did you reactivate your peace officer license?
The end of 2012.
Okay, what did you have to do in order to reactivate it?
There were certain courses that TCOL's mandated that I go take, and then I had to re-challenge the TCOL test.
You had to.
I had to go. Sorry.
You called it re-challenge the TCOL test?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is that?
Any police officer has to take the TCOL exam. After they get out of the academy, it's about a 300 question exam that they have to take. It's over different penal codes, CCP, traffic, and then you have to take that test as well. So that's where, after I finished the mandated courses that they required me to take, I was eligible to retake TCOL.
Okay. And we've been saying TCOL a couple of times. Do you know what TCOL stands for?
Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Education.
Okay, and that's, you understand to be the
that'd be something, man.
Texas law enforcement officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so when you took these courses to reactivate your license in 2012, did you go to school to do that?
No, sir.
Okay, how did you accomplish those courses?
Most of them were through other agencies that put on a training for it. Some were also online.
Okay. And so basically you went and sought out these courses yourself to complete?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so 2012, you reactivated your peace officer license. Where did you go work?
To Missouri County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. And what did you do at the Sheriff's Office?
I started out in the jail. I was there 4 months, and then I went to patrol.
Okay. So you started out as a jailer?
Yes, sir.
And then you moved over over to patrol?
Yes, sir.
How long were you on patrol for?
3 or 4 years.
Okay. And then what did you do after that 3 or 4 year period?
I transferred over to the mental health division for 6 years.
Okay, still at Missouri County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is required to transfer from patrol to the mental health unit?
There's different courses you can, but you don't have to take. They do an oral board, and then the sergeant of the mental health division picks who he chooses he wants to in that division.
Okay, did you take any courses specific for the mental health division?
Yes, sir.
What courses were there?
There's different mental health courses. I don't remember the exact names to them.
Okay. And then you said you were at the mental health division for how long?
About 6 years.
Okay. And after that 6 year period, what did you do next?
That's when I resigned from Missouri County, and I went to Lake Jackson Police Department.
Okay, what was the purpose of resigning from Missouri County?
I wanted to further my law enforcement. So it was a time to where Missouri County was having issues. So I decided to transfer out to a smaller department.
Okay. And were you, did you leave Missouri County because of any discipline you've received?
No, sir.
Okay, during your, over 10 years? Was it over 10 years?
It's right at 10 years.
Okay. So your 10-year period with Missouri County, were there ever any complaints made against you?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. And did you receive any written admonishments during your time at Missouri County?
For complaints or
For anything?
There was one report that was messed up that I was, it's a verbal warning. There's 3 different levels that they have. It's verbal, then a write-up, then discipline.
Okay, so you didn't receive any write-ups while you were at Missouri?
No, sir.
Okay. And then did you have a gap of time between the Missouri County Sheriff's Office and you went to Lake Jackson?
2 days.
2 days?
Yes, sir.
So you knew you wanted to go to Lake Jackson?
Yes, sir. I actually gave Missouri County a 3-week notice before I left.
Okay. And then how long were you at Lake Jackson Police Department?
7 months.
7 months. What was your position?
Patrol.
Okay, it was patrol the entire time?
Yes, sir.
Right. During your 7 month stint with Lake Jackson, what kind of training did you receive?
There was a use of force training, defensive tactics training. I actually taught a mental health class. It's the 40-hour course that TCOL mandates that officers have. And then I've done a few online, quite a few online, actually.
Okay. The use of force training you received, tell me about that. Who gave that to you?
There was 2 different instructors. One was from Freeport. I don't remember his name. And I think he was the only one that did the use of force.
Was that something that the city of Lake Jackson required or something TCOL required?
Neither. It was a course that I asked to take.
Okay, so the course was on use of force generally, not, for example, city policy.
I don't know on that. Okay. I don't know on their policy. I saw the course come up and I asked if I could take it.
Okay. And the use of force, how long was that? How long was that course?
I think it was just 1 day.
Okay. And did you go to Freeport for that course, or did the instructor come from Freeport to the city of Lake Jackson?
City of Lake Jackson. Freeport to Lake Jackson.
Okay. And so did other city of Lake Jackson police officers also attend that course?
Yes, sir.
And where was that course held exactly?
In the training room at the police station.
Okay. The police station of the city of Lake Jackson?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall if Officer Mendoza was present at that training?
I know he was in one of my training classes. I just don't remember which one it is.
Now, when you came to the city of Lake Jackson Police Department, were you provided with any information as to what the city's or police department's policies were?
I know they gave me a handout of a bunch of paperwork, but I don't remember. I was more into getting through the training program. I don't remember if I've looked at everything or not.
Okay, when you said you were looking to get through the training
Wow.
The FTO program.
Okay, is the FTO, what do you mean by FTO?
Any field training officer. Whenever you go to another department, they still have to put you through their training to make sure that you understand their policy, or not policies, but their report writing, their computers, all that.
Okay. Were you an FTO with Missouri County?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so in order to be an FTO, is that something that's recognized? If somebody looks at your peace officer credentials, can somebody tell that you're an FTO, or is that something that's department specific?
No, so it's through TCOL. It's a TCOL course that they log it on your record.
Okay, so you have to go take specific TCOL courses to be qualified as a FTO?
That's different departments have different ways of doing that. Some departments, they teach it themselves. Sometimes you can get it online.
Okay. But at the end of the day, the course is still credentialed by TCOL?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you accomplished adversary accounting, the courses necessary to be qualified as an FTO?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what year that was?
No, sir, I don't. It was when I was on patrol, so it would be, I don't remember. It was before I went to mental health, I know that.
Okay. And are you required to take any additional courses going forward, like annual requirements, once you become an FTO?
No, sir.
So then when you leave Brazoria County, you go to the city of Lake Jackson, your intent was to be in a FTO position?
No, sir.
Okay. So what training did you have to do then? Let me back up. Why did you have to go through a training program for the city of Lake Jackson?
That's any police department. If you transfer to another police department, they're going to put you through their FTO program.
Okay, so regardless if you are an FTO officer or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So were you in an FTO position with the city of Lake Jackson?
No, sir.
But you still went through the training course?
Yes, sir.
Who put on the training course?
They put you with different officers that you ride with that are FTO certified.
Okay, and how long is that training program?
It can go from 60 to 90 days.
Okay, how long were you involved in the city of Lake Jackson FTO for the training program?
I believe it was 9 to 11 weeks.
9 or 11 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you recall which officers, I guess what FTO officers you were working with the city of Lake Jackson during that 9 to 11 week period?
I had Officer Ryan, Corporal Dunn, and there was one more. He was in the traffic unit. I can't remember his name.
And during this 9-11 week training program, did you go over any discussion or any type of training on the written policies that the city of Lake Jackson expected you to understand?
We went over, I know, the use of force continuum. We went over how they expected their reports to be written, how evidence was collected and logged in, and how your PCs were written on their side.
And when you say PCs,
probable cause affidavits.
Okay. And so were these just, so this is basically where you were carried out with the FTO?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this wasn't like a classroom environment type instruction?
No, sir.
Okay. At any time, did you have to sign any documents indicating that you understood or that you read and understood what the city of Lake Jackson Police Department policies were?
No, sir.
During your 7-month period, were you ever required to attend any specific city of Lake Jackson Police Department training?
What do you mean by that?
So, for example, you mentioned that TCOL requires you to do annual training, right?
Yes, sir.
Did the city of Lake Jackson Police Department require any specific training?
In the time that I was there was never a requirement for any training.
Okay. And so, so when you were, so you came over to the city of Lake Jackson to do patrol, correct?
Yes, sir.
At that time, what was the, can you recall the first, I guess the first time you went out by yourself on patrol going forward with the city of Lake Jackson?
It was close to Halloween.
Halloween of what year?
2021.
2021. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So prior to October 2021, when was the last time you had gone out on patrol by yourself?
That'd be before I went to mental health in Brazoria County.
Okay, so 6 or 7 years prior?
Yes, sir. On patrol.
On patrol. When you were with the mental health, were you responsible for like accident scenes?
No, sir.
Were you responsible for securing crime scenes?
No, sir.
So what's up?
What was your what were your duties and responsibilities generally with the mental health division with Brazoria County?
We did anywhere from interviewing people to see if they met the criteria by the state. And if they did, then they were escorted by us to a hospital so they can get treatment. We also dealt with children and adults that were suicidal. They could have been homicidal as well. We dealt strictly with mental health is all we dealt with.
Okay. Did that require you to put handcuffs on individuals?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were you required to evaluate probable cause?
Sir, we did not evaluate. We only interviewed.
Okay, so but when you were on patrol with the city of Lake Jackson, for example, were you required to evaluate probable cause?
Yes, sir.
But you did not have that same role with the mental health division in Oregon County?
As with traffic or crime scenes, no.
Do you know why we are here today?
Yes, sir.
And that's from the incident on March 4th, 2022?
Yes, sir.
So it looks like you were out at around 1:30 p.m. at 104 Highway 332. Is that correct?
I know I was out at 332 or Highway 332. I don't know the numbers to it.
Okay. And what was your reason for being out there?
Because of the minor accident.
Okay. So were you, like, how did that work? Did dispatch say, hey, we got a report? Or were you specifically tasked? How did you end up out there?
I was actually advised by Corporal Ryan to go out there to help Officer Mendoza because it was at the exit off of 288 on the feeder road and also the exit at the mall. It's a high traffic area right there. So that's why I went to the scene.
Okay. And did you go out there? What kind of vehicle did you take out there?
That was a Chevy Tahoe. I don't know the year.
Okay. But it was a marked police vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you park the vehicle?
I originally parked it at the exit from the mall onto the feeder road. But then within maybe a few minutes, I moved it further back because cars were still trying to come around the unit. So we were trying to block that exit off out of the mall so they couldn't come out.
Okay. So were you successful in blocking the traffic over there?
From coming out? Yes, sir.
Okay. So you get out on the scene. Is Officer Mendoza the only one out there?
Yes, sir.
From the city of Lake Jackson?
Police department? Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you talk to him about what you needed help with? Or?
No, sir. Officer Mendoza was already talking to the people in the accident.
Okay, so you understood when you got out there that you would help with traffic control?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have any discussions at that point with Officer Mendoza?
We talked with each other throughout the whole scene, but it wasn't in relation to the accident completely.
Okay, when you got out to the scene, were there wreckers or the tow trucks already present?
No, sir.
And so at some point, you're alerted to the presence of Mr. Reyes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you become of Mr. Reyes?
FAQ.
The female that was in the accident looked at me and asked me who that was. So that's when I confronted Mr. Reyes.
Okay. And when you approached Mr. Reyes, what was he doing?
He was leaning or standing at the curb next to the stop sign.
Okay. And was he in the roadway or out of the roadway?
He was on the curb, which is right there at the exit of the mall.
Okay, so he was standing on a curb.
Yes, sir.
Was he in the road?
No, sir.
Okay, and was the traffic or the road blocked to vehicular traffic at that time?
At that time, yes, sir.
Okay, so was there any concern for safety reasons where Mr. Reyes was standing?
Yes, sir.
What was the concern?
The exit coming off the freeway was just to the north of where he was standing.
Okay, the exit was north of the freeway where he was standing.
Yes, sir. The exit from I call it Highway 288. It's also Highway 332. The exit off of that freeway is just north of where the accident had occurred.
Okay, so the area he was standing on the curb, you say he was standing near a stop sign, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is it your understanding that vehicles could have approached that stop sign?
If they would have rear-ended one of the fire apparatuses, or fire trucks, not a regular truck, but a regular pickup, it could have ran into him, me, or anybody else there.
Okay, but that's because there was a fire truck that was blocking that intersection.
They weren't blocking the intersection; they were just blocking that one lane.
Okay, the one lane near the stop sign.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reyes was standing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you approached Mr. Reyes, before you approached Mr. Reyes, when you saw him standing on the curb, how far away was he from the accident scene?
Maybe 5 feet.
5 feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And 5 feet from the stop sign to what marker?
On the roadway. Where that stop sign is where the male subject was exiting out. That's where the accident occurred, was at that stop sign.
Okay, but how do you know that?
The vehicles were still there, intertwined with each other.
Okay, so you understood that Mr. Reyes was standing 5 feet from the vehicles?
From where the accident occurred, yes, sir.
Okay, and so the lady that alerted you to Mr. Reyes' presence, was she closer or further away to the accident scene?
She was further away from the accident scene.
Than Mr. Reyes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were there other individuals out there as well?
The other gentleman that was in the accident, there was myself, Officer Mendoza, and the other 2 assistant chiefs that were there.
Okay. And so the male individual that was involved in the accident, was he standing closer or further away to the accident?
He was further away as well.
Okay. So your testimony is that Mr. Reyes was the closest out of the other 2 to the accident?
Where the accident occurred, yes, sir.
Okay. And at the time you observed Mr. Reyes, what was your responsibility on that scene?
Was the safety and security of that scene.
Okay, safety and security. What does that entail?
Make sure that the scene is safe, that no one else gets injured there, and make sure nothing else gets damaged.
Okay. And so Mr. Reyes was standing on a curb with I guess a grass easement area? Right?
Yes, sir.
And that's also that same grass easement, isn't that where the other 2 individuals were also standing?
They were further south.
Okay, but they were still in that grass area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you first observed Mr. Reyes, what did it appear that he was doing?
Standing there.
Doing what?
Just standing there.
Okay, just standing there. Did you observe him with his phone out?
I think he had his phone in his hand, but I didn't pay attention to where his phone was.
Okay, so your testimony right now is that your concern was with him standing where he was at.
With his safety, yes, sir.
Okay, did you ever relay
Whatever, man.
I walked up to him and asked him if I could help him.
Okay, and do you recall telling him what your concern was?
I don't remember, sir.
I never want.
So,
I never want their help, man. Not unless I am in immediate danger, or somebody, or my family is in immediate danger, like, a real situation. Other than that, I mean, their help doesn't, it seems like the only thing they want to help you with is to ruin your life. They wanted to help the lady who was walking singing a song down. Actually, she wasn't even in the road. She was in the parking lot, and they wanted to help her, and she ended up going to jail and being punched in the face, and they put charges on her. One time, the other one, they tried to help the man. They helped him they assisted him to the ground and broke his neck, and made him a quadriplegic. So that's their help.
what is your understanding? Well, let me ask you this. Is it your understanding that it's against the law to take photos of license plates from public spaces?
That was a mistake that I made.
Okay. So on March 4th, 2022, you thought that it was against the law to take photos of license plates?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a moderator to
did it
drop the links and everything, but
here to take photos of the accident scene?
it's all good.
Can you say that again, please?
Didn't you observe?
Hey, Lou was in here earlier. Yeah.
Taking photos of the accident scene?
I did not observe him taking photos, no.
Okay. So
What if he lying?
That he was not permitted to take pictures of license plates?
Sir, I don't remember exactly how the conversation was.
But do you recall saying something to him about taking pictures of license plates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why would you report that?
Sir, I don't recall exactly how that conversation came up.
Okay.
They don't recall because they don't think.
Videos from this incident?
Yes, sir.
That's the issue. They don't think. They just do stuff. And then later on, like, oh,
Yes,
I didn't even know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did you observe the video taken from the female bystander?
Yes, sir.
And you also saw the video taken from Mr. Reyes?
Besides what's on the internet? No.
Okay, but you saw the video that was posted on the internet?
Some of it, yes, sir.
Okay, some of it. And you watched those videos a couple of times, right?
Just my body camera and Officer Mendoza's body camera.
Okay, did you review those body cameras or any body camera in preparation of an incident report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you review those cameras in preparation of Lake Jackson Police Department's investigation into the incident?
I don't know what their investigation was. I went in there to do my statement is the reason that I watched the videos.
Okay, to make, when you say your statement, you mean the statement?
What's up, Mitch?
Your city of Lake Jackson or your incident report?
It would have been my statement or my incident report.
Okay. And were you interviewed at all by any Texas Ranger?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you review your body camera prior to that interview?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And prior to today, or in preparation of today, did you view any video?
Miss Bonds, myself, and Officer Mendoza.
Okay, so when you say Miss Bonds, that's the female.
That's the female. Yes, sir.
Now, okay, so you've watched the videos since March 2022 a number of times, right?
Not a number of times. I've seen Miss Bonds once, mine 3 times, and Mendoza's 3 times.
Okay, so there was you had to watch the video, or at least the body-worn cameras, to prepare an incident report.
Yes, sir.
You watched the videos to prepare.
Oh, he was locked up
to the City of Lake Jackson Police Department.
That's the same time.
Okay, so you watched it just once.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
I saw the video camera once.
Angry Vet was locked up.
Body-worn camera in preparation for your interview with the Texas Rangers.
No, sir.
No, you haven't watched the
No,
video?
sir.
Okay. But then you watched it. Did you watch any of the video once you received notice of this lawsuit?
With my attorney.
Okay. And did you watch the video in preparation of responding to discovery? Oh, we did. Did you watch the video in preparation?
The one time with my attorney.
Just one time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But then you watched it in preparation for today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, out of the times of watching your body-worn camera from this incident, you can't recall why you told Mr. Reyes it was illegal to photograph license plates?
No, sir. I mean, I would have to watch it again.
Okay. What was your understanding of an individual's right to film police officers performing their duties in public?
And to clarify the question, you're asking him what it was at that time?
At that time, correct. 2022. At that time, on March 4th, 2022, what did you understand was Mr. Reyes' right to film police officers performing their duties in public?
I had no training on that, to my knowledge, so I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Did you receive any kind of briefing at all from any police officer or employee with the City of Lake Jackson?
Since that incident?
No, prior to that incident?
No, sir.
Okay. How about since that incident?
No, sir.
Okay. So, did you understand at the time on March 4th, 2022, that Mr. Reyes was filming his interaction with you?
Was restreamed.
Yes, sir. He had his phone in his hand.
Okay. And you understood he was filming?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to check that out, Mitch.
Did you understand at that time that he had a right to film that interaction?
I wasn't concerned about him filming.
Okay.
This is crazy.
Not whenever I was talking to Mr. Reyes, no, sir.
Okay. So, why did you approach Mr. Reyes then and tell him he was breaking the law by photographing license plates?
I confronted Mr. Reyes because Ms. Bond asked me who he was.
Okay. Was Mr. Reyes
Yes,
staying in
Ms.
a public
Bond.
space?
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
Did Ms. Bond have some in a public?
Because Ms. Bond asked me who he was.
Okay. Was Mr. Reyes standing in a public space?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. We have 34 minutes and 9 seconds. Let's go back real quick and see this reaction, because It seemed like this is totally different from what he's saying right now.
Filed by Rolando Reyes against Lake Jackson, and several of its current and former police officers have been settled. Here is a recap of the incident and full testimony of now former Officer Cagle.
What did you say now? I asked you, why are you here? I said I'm taking photos. Okay. Are you allowed on this accident scene? That's what I'm asking you. You're asking me if I'm allowed to be here? Yes, sir. Okay. What do you think? Okay. I need you to leave, please. I'm not going to leave. Mendoza, your accident scene. You're taking pictures of other people's vehicles and license plates, which is against the law. What are you doing around now? Taking photography. Okay. Not here. Not right now. Okay. Okay. What are you going to do if I don't stop? Okay. Look, all I'm asking you to do, what you need to do, is go over there. You're not going to stop me from taking photography. Do you work for the newspaper? I don't have to work for the newspaper to take public photography. Okay. But taking license plate pictures of license plates, you are not allowed to do. You are also by law allowed to lie to me. That's incorrect information. I think you need to learn the law now. You actually can, and I can take all the videos of license plates that I want. Okay. You go ahead and do that. I will. Do you have your ID on you? Do you have your ID on you? Now you're on our accident scene, okay. So I want you to identify yourself. I want you to identify yourself right now. Officer Cagle. Badge number? 635. And you? Now watch how I'm not going to give you my license. Okay. Then I need you to remove yourself from this accident. I'm not going to remove myself from this accident scene. I need a supervisor out here just saying now. You wanted to come here and intimidate me? Let me tell you something right now. No, sir, this is not your accident scene. This is all public property. Okay? You're coming up here taking pictures? Yeah. First of all, lower your voice now. Sir, I'm talking the same way. No. You came here with a bad energy. No, I asked what you were doing. You're going to lower your voice now when you talk to me. You sat here and said I can be wherever I want. Anywhere I want, yes. All I asked you is why you're here taking photographs of other people's property. None of your goddamn business. Oh, okay. Yeah. So are you going to identify yourself since you're part of this accident? Absolutely not. Okay. And why is that? Because you are not my dad. Who do you think you are? And you do not belong in this accident. I can be anywhere I want. You need to leave. I'm not leaving. Mendoza? Sir. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. You're not going to tell me that you're not going to intimidate me out of here. I don't understand what the purpose is. What is your purpose of you being here right now? Okay, so you have an accident scene. Go deal with it. Okay, this accident's said and done. These records are now. Then walk away. You're dismissed. I don't need you here. Okay, so this accident's over. Why are you get the fuck out of here. I don't need you here. You're trying to intimidate me? Two officers with guns? No one's touching anything on that. Then back away, because if I had come to you this close, you'd have arrested my ass. You're already on our scene, which is interfering in my investigation. I'm not interfering with any of your shit. You need to put your finger out of my face. You need to back up for me then. I don't need to back up. This is my scene. This is his scene. No, you and your scene, man. I'm standing right here. You need to leave now. I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm not leaving anywhere. You need to go. I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm not.
What year did you understand at the time on March 4th, 2022, that Mr. Reyes was filming his interaction with you?
Yes, sir. He had his phone in his hand.
Okay. And you understood he was filming?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you understand at that time that he had a right to film that interaction?
I wasn't concerned about him filming.
Okay. You weren't concerned at all with him filming? Not
whenever I was talking to Mr. Reyes, no, sir.
Okay. So, why did you approach Mr. Reyes then and tell him he was breaking the law by photographing license plates?
I confronted Mr. Reyes because Ms. Vaughn asked me who he was.
Okay. Was Mr. Reyes standing in a public space?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did Ms. Vaughn have some
he's very angry.
Control to
what's up?
She didn't ask him to be removed.
Okay. So Ms. Vaughn told you she was concerned, or she didn't know who Mr. Reyes was.
She asked who he was.
Okay. And at that point, you told me.
See, that's funny.
Why did you approach Mr. Reyes?
I just walked up to him to ask him if he needed any help, if there was something I could do for him.
Okay. And what did he tell you?
Good morning.
He actually said, "Hold on a minute."
Okay. And was Mr. Reyes at that point, to your understanding, is he suspected of committing any crime?
No, sir.
Okay. And so is it your understanding that Mr. Reyes had to respond to any of your questions?
Yes, sir.
He did?
No, he did not.
Okay. Okay. At any point, did you tell Mr. Reyes that he needed to leave for safety reasons?
I don't recall if I said it that way.
Okay. Do you know if you told Mr. Reyes anything at all concerning safety?
I don't recall.
Okay. At some point, you asked Mr. Reyes to leave?
Yes, sir.
He didn't leave.
Yes, sir.
And then you called over Mr. Mendoza, Officer Mendoza?
Yes, sir.
Why? What was the purpose for calling over Officer Mendoza?
Terrible, man. Terrible.
It was Officer Mendoza was primary on the scene.
Okay. At that point, when you called over Officer Mendoza, were you suspecting Mr. Reyes of committing a crime?
No. No.
No, sir.
I don't know what took him so long
On
to
March 4th,
say no.
2022, what was your understanding of a citizen's right to criticize, verbally criticize police officers?
I have no recollection of any of that.
Okay. That wasn't part of your. You don't recall seeing any T-pole forces?
No, sir.
So, when Officer Mendoza, do you recall Officer Mendoza stating during the interaction that the accident scene was, or the accident investigation was completed?
You would have to ask Officer Mendoza that. I don't
You don't
remember.
recall that?
No, sir.
What do you recall from the interaction with Mr. Reyes?
At which time?
Tell me your understanding, based on your recollection, what the conversation was between you and Mr. Reyes.
I know I asked Mr. Reyes multiple times to leave, and he refused to leave.
Okay. Help me understand, what authority did you have to have Mr. Reyes leave?
He's on the scene of an accident, which is a safety issue. So that's why we were asking him to leave.
Okay. Did you tell Mr. Reyes that he needed to leave because it was a safety issue?
That's the answer. I'll let you answer again.
I do not recall if I said safety or not.
And your understanding is that he was standing, I guess, closer than the other two individuals that were on the same grass area.
Yes, sir.
What was your understanding of what still needed to be done with the accident investigation?
The wreckers were starting to pick up the vehicles, but they were still in the roadway.
Okay, and we have the video of it. The wreckers were, they weren't in the lane nearest to the stop sign, were they?
I don't recall exactly where they were positioned. I know they were next to each other.
Right, so if you recall the interaction being you asked Mr. Reyes to leave, he didn't leave. What happened next?
We continued to ask him to leave, and he refused. He was cussing everything else, but
at some point, you made the decision to just subdue Mr. Reyes or to detain Mr. Reyes?
no, sir. I made the decision to try to escort him off the scene to back him up.
What?
Okay.
What? That's what you call that? Hold on. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. That's what you call that?
Second Amendment complaint that we filed on Sunday.
Yo, did y'all hear him? He wanted to escort him away from the scene. That's what he called what he did earlier. No, they will say anything and don't care. They don't care about nothing, man. Listen to this guy, man. It's the same thing with these depositions, man. They will say anything, no matter how outrageous. His claim is that he was trying to escort him off the scene. Okay, sure. For what? He was on the sidewalk.
I would have to get with the attorney on that. I've had so much paperwork, I don't know.
Okay, so are you aware that you got
Crazy.
Mr. Reyes by the neck?
No, sir.
Are you aware that you want this coming out of his hand?
No, sir.
Okay. When you say that you were going to escort Mr. Reyes, how did you envision doing that?
I placed my left hand on his right side and told him he needed to leave.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how
I
you
know
envisioned
this.
doing it.
No, sir. That's how I did it.
Okay, so you put your hand on his right side. Which hand did you use?
My left hand
Okay.
on his right side.
Okay. Did you see Mr. Reyes reach for anything?
His right arm came up into my left arm twice.
What?
Okay, so did you see Mr. Reyes reach for anything?
I was looking at Mr. Reyes. I just saw the motion of his hand.
Okay. Motion of his hand, and this is after you made contact with him?
Yes, sir, after I touched him on the side.
Okay. And when you saw the motion of his hand, what ended up happening?
After that is whenever I reached up to grab him to take him to the ground, because I don't know how the phone fell, but his left hand started coming down towards my right side as I was coming down with him.
Okay. And so at the time you decided to put your left hand on Mr. Reyes'
remember, he's just trying to escort him away from the scene. Remember that. Yeah.
Did you suspect Mr. Reyes of committing a crime?
Yes, sir.
And what crime is that?
He was interfering in our investigation.
Okay. What investigation was that?
The traffic accident.
Okay. And by this point, though, did you hear Officer Mendoza say that the investigation was completed?
At that time, I don't know exactly when or how he said it.
Okay. So you were not responsible for the accident investigation, were you?
No, sir.
Okay. So the decision as to whether or not the investigation was ongoing, is that with Officer Mendoza?
As long as the scene is still there, the accident investigation is continuing.
Okay.
I don't know when Officer Mendoza stated that the accident scene was complete.
Okay. Would it surprise you if Officer Mendoza said that while standing right next to you during the interaction with Mr. Reyes?
What do you mean? I'm not understanding your question on that.
Sure. You watched the body-worn camera a couple of times, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall Mr. Officer Mendoza over? Officer Mendoza informed Mr. Reyes while standing next to you that the accident investigation was completed.
After the second time that I asked Officer Mendoza. The first time I asked Officer Mendoza, he never said that. Maybe after the second time, it is possible.
Okay, but so you recall Officer Mendoza relaying that the accident investigation?
I remember that I remember that was said, yes.
Okay, and that occurred prior to you
Right.
putting your left hand on Mr. Reyes' right side.
There was no reason.
I don't recall when that was said, when I placed my hand on him.
Okay, so if Officer Mendoza had stated prior to you making physical contact with Mr. Reyes,
Right,
that the accident investigation was completed, is it your understanding that Mr. Reyes would be interfering with the accident scene?
Sir, he was interfering with the accident scene before Officer Mendoza said that it was over.
How is Mr. Reyes interfering with the accident scene?
good question.
Because we've asked him to leave multiple times and he has refused to do so.
Okay, did you ask anyone else to leave?
There was
Now, see, I'm hoping this lawyer don't let him skate away from this question. You know, I'm really hoping he don't let him skate away. He obviously asked him, how was he interfering? And this officer replies, we asked him to leave several times. What? Just because you ask somebody to leave and they don't want to leave, that's not interfering if they're not doing anything.
no one. Yes, actually I did. There was another female before Mr. Reyes came up that was trying to walk up to her sister and we asked her to leave. She also left.
And her sister
Violated her too.
Yes, sir.
Now, that female, she actually entered into the roadway, didn't she?
Which roadway?
That female that you were talking about, when she went to approach her sister, she actually walked onto the roadway, didn't she?
Right.
She came from the mall. She is one of the ones that almost hit the assistant chief's truck.
Okay. And so she was traveling by foot to her sister.
Yes, sir.
And when you approached her, she was on the roadway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So but Mr. Reyes, he never stepped on the roadway, did he?
No, sir.
As a matter of fact, you weren't even aware of Mr. Reyes standing by a stop sign until this lawn race set to your attention, right?
That's correct.
So Mr. Reyes, he wasn't preventing you from doing your job, was it?
Exactly.
No, sir.
So how is it interfering? Oh my goodness. Boy, you can't write it, man. You can't write it. He testified to that too, man. That's crazy.
So
on camera, he just said it, man.
Put your left hand.
Listen to that.
Right? That's correct.
So and when you approached her, she was on the roadway.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So but Mr. Reyes, he never stepped on the roadway, did he?
No, sir.
As a matter of fact, you didn't even you weren't even aware of Mr. Reyes standing by a stop sign until Ms. Von raised that to your attention, right?
That's correct.
So Mr. Reyes, he wasn't preventing you from doing your job, was he?
No, sir.
Man, how do they, bro? How do they get away with this, man? How is it ever a possibility of this? How is it ever a possibility that a person is actually charged and that person who's actually charged is the actual victim? Like, this is crazy. He even said so many things that really it makes the case he makes the case easy. Like, and that question alone that he just answered, that wins the case right there. He just said, was he interfering with what you were doing? He said no. So why are you trying to escort him off the scene saying that he's interfering? And look at his face. It's like, bro, I just don't get this, man. It's so, how do they look at this, man? Come on, bro. Come on.
So put your left hand on Mr. Reyes' right side, and you see what appears to be Mr. Reyes with his
his right arm.
His right arm up.
Let's check out the chat for a second. All right, so let's catch up. KT, this case, Mr. Reyes is a citizen that was exercising his First Amendment right, filming what I believe was a car accident. He was standing off on the sidewalk filming it. These officers came up. They didn't like what he was doing. They didn't feel like he should be doing what he was doing. So they basically attacked him and arrested him. This officer is saying that he was trying to politely escort him off the scene, I guess. But it was no reason for them to interact with him. But they did anyway, try to force him to leave. He didn't want to leave because he wasn't doing anything. Now this officer just said he wasn't interfering at all. So that's the case right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's Ronaldo Reyes, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm kind of late on the chat, so look like man, y'all good on the chat, man. Y'all updating everybody before I even get to it. Okay, let's see what we got. That's funny. Scarecrow, that's funny, man. That means, yep. That's what they like to think, man. Appreciate you. It's time to catch me up. No problem. I appreciate you being here. You're gonna know I'm a real person on my channel.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, you make the decision to bring Mr. Reyes down to the ground.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is the tactic called? How you brought him to the ground?
It's a defensive tactic. It's you reach up, grab a hold of their shoulder area, and you pull them down.
Okay. And did Officer Mendoza assist you with the takedown?
I know Officer Mendoza was there. I don't know when he got involved.
Wow, man. That's his story. Grab my shoulders and throw him
down on the ground. What are you doing next?
We're trying to place his hands behind his back.
Okay, and are you sitting?
Why?
No, sir.
Are you kneeling over him?
I was leaned over him with my legs behind him.
Okay, but you didn't have any body weight on him?
No, sir.
Oh.
And whose cuffs were you trying to get onto Mr. Reyes?
I don't remember if they were mine or Officer Mendoza's.
Prior to placing the handcuffs on, well, I guess handcuffs eventually end up on Mr. Reyes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When's the last time you had to take down somebody prior to March 4th?
Sir, I don't recall.
Did you have to take anybody down other than Mr. Reyes during the 7 months you were with the city of Lake Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Did you have to take anybody down when you were with the mental health division with Missouri County?
Yes, sir.
And so your understanding was you tell me why did you make the decision to switch from physically removing Mr. Reyes from the area to then taking him down to the ground and putting cuffs on?
When I saw his hand move forward, that's when Mr. Reyes took that stance of he's not moving. And at that time, I felt the safety was enough. And the fact that he came up and hit my hand and reaching for something, I didn't know what. It was a split second that I reached up, grabbed a hold of his shoulder area up here, and I pulled him to the ground.
Politely escorted him.
At that point, what crime do you think Mr. Reyes did?
He had already refused him to leave after he's been told to do so.
Okay, what offense is that?
It's in the transportation. I don't remember the exact note, the code to it, but it's 542 point something. And it's whenever there's a police officer, crossing guard, or anybody else that is dealing with traffic, if we ask them to leave, if they refuse to leave, then they're interfering.
Okay, so we've already established that Mr. Reyes was not in the roadway, right?
Yes, sir.
At any time was he impeding traffic?
No, sir.
Oh, we at 22?
And do you know if Mr. Reyes was ever charged with violation of the transportation code?
I have no idea.
Everybody hit the like button.
Did anyone ask you what crime you thought?
You really hit the like button.
I remember, I believe it was either Corporal Dunn or Sergeant Assestra had asked.
Did you prepare an incident report for this matter?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because I was told not to.
Who told you that?
Corporal or Lieutenant Cromeans.
Cromeans, that's spelled Cromees.
I have no idea. I have misspelled his name. I don't know how many times.
Okay, so normally, well, let me back up. You make the decision to detain or arrest Mr. Reyes?
It was just detain him.
Okay, so even though you thought he was violating the transportation code, you did not intend to arrest him?
At no time did I ever say he was under arrest.
But what did you intend to do?
To detain him, to get the situation calmed down to where.
Listen here. At no time did I tell him he was under arrest. Yet you attacked him, took him down to the ground, and put handcuffs on him. What else do you call that?
Where we can address everything.
Okay. And so normally,
Detainment. So you only detain
somebody or put somebody in handcuffs. Is it your understanding?
Get out of here, man.
Are you required to prepare an incident report every time you put somebody in handcuffs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I?
Sure.
Not every time that we put somebody in handcuffs. If we detain them, usually there's an incident report. Yes, it explains because we have technically that's part of a use of force. because you're detaining them. You're restricting them from their movements. So yes, I've always done an incident report on it.
Okay, is it your understanding that the city of Lake Jackson and police department policy would have required you to prepare an incident report?
Yes, sir.
And did you, on March 4th, 2022, did you intend to prepare an incident report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When were you told by Lieutenant how do you say it?
Cromines.
To not prepare an incident report?
That was on the Wednesday.
So this,
I don't remember the date. We can calculate it up.
Okay. So March 4th was a Friday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And had you prepared any draft incident reports?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there's a draft incident report in the system?
No, sir, not in y'all's, not in Lake Jackson.
Okay.
It was done at my house.
Okay. So you had the ability to prepare a draft incident report at your house?
It's not on the letterheads of Lake Jackson. It's just basically a Word document that I typed up and it was having, and I had it print out.
Okay. Is that something you normally did while at the city of Lake Jackson?
No, sir. Usually it was done at the city.
Okay. But why did you want to draft a Word document of your incident report?
Because I was told before I even left the hospital that I was suspended under internal affairs. And about 2 hours later, one of the officers came and picked me up, took me to the PD, and I was told not to speak to no one, grab my stuff, and go home.
Okay. And who told you that?
I can't, it was either Corporal Ryan or Sergeant Assessor. I can't remember which one. They were both there in the office when I grabbed my things.
Okay. And so when you got home, is that when you drafted or started drafting?
No, sir. It was Monday afternoon, I believe.
Okay.
It was either Monday or Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, so Monday or Tuesday afternoon, you decide that you wanted to draft or put in writing your version of events that would occur.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you still have a copy of that draft?
Unfortunately, sir, it's been 9 months. I doubt it. I'm sure I never saved it on the computer, never saved it on a jump drive. So I'm sure it's already been shredded.
Okay. Did you ever provide a copy of that to your attorney?
No, sir.
Have you had a chance to review the incident reports that were prepared in this incident?
I have not read every single one of them. I don't know who's written an incident report or who hasn't.
Okay. How often, well, how quickly after an incident are you required normally or expected to prepare an incident report?
Usually we do the incident report right then and there.
Okay, so you knew when you were told at the hospital that you were suspended that you're not going to be able to prepare a report right away?
Oh, I thought I was going to be able to go to the PD and still type one.
Okay. And then when did you find out that you were not going to be able to do that?
As soon as I walked in the PD.
And that was on March 4th?
That's on March 4th.
Right. And you were told to leave?
Yes, sir. I was told to gather my belongings that were there on the floor in the sergeant's office and to leave. Do not speak to anybody with the city of Lake Jackson.
Okay. Prior to this incident, were you expected to work that Saturday or Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which day?
Both days.
Okay. But then as a result of this, you didn't go to work?
No, sir. I was suspended.
Okay. And then how did you end up speaking with Lieutenant Cummings on that Wednesday?
Actually, I spoke with Lieutenant Cromines on a Monday and Tuesday, and then I showed up on Wednesday and spoke with him in person.
Okay, so you spoke to Lieutenant Cummings on Monday and Tuesday via phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what were those conversations about?
Lieutenant Cromines called me Monday and asked me if I was going to resign. I told him I had no intentions of resigning. I like the camaraderie. I like the guys that I work with. He said, okay. That was it. And then Tuesday, he ended up calling me again. I know I was going to lunch with a friend of mine, and that's when the second call came in. And he's the one that told me that it does not look good for me. I need to resign. I explained to him that I did not want to resign, that I wanted a meeting with the chief. And he said, come in tomorrow morning. So that's when I came in Wednesday morning.
Okay. And then, so you went in Wednesday morning. Who did you speak with?
I immediately went to Lieutenant Cromines.
Okay. And the discussion about preparing an incident report came up?
No, sir. It was the about the resigning.
Because I'm trying to understand when exactly you were told not to prepare.
Yeah, Emperor, man. I love these, man.
Whenever I resigned, I went in and talked to the chief, and he told me that it doesn't matter the outcome. I'm still going to be terminated. So if I don't resign right now, I will be fired.
And
Yeah.
so,
I'm not sure he has.
Gotta get up out of there, man.
so
Stop
you met
violating
the
us.
chief on that Wednesday. Was Lieutenant Cummings in the room?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And who else was in the room?
Assistant Chief Anderson was.
Okay. So you had Henderson, Cronies, and
Anderson.
Anderson.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Not Henderson.
No, sir.
Okay. And did Anderson or Cronies say anything in that meeting?
No, sir. It was just, well, Assistant Chief Anderson did, but it was already after I spoke with the Chief Thibodeau. So, and it was basically, there's nothing we can do, is all he would say.
Okay, and so do you feel like then that you resigned?
Yes, sir. I was forced to resign.
Okay, because if you didn't resign, you were under the impression you were going to get fired?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you did get fired, would that have impacted your peace officer license?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how so?
It would have given me a dishonorable
Dishonorable what?
F5.
Okay, and that's when you say F5, that's the form pertaining to your peace officer certification.
That's the form when you leave a department. There's 3 criteria. There's honorable, general, or dishonorable.
Okay, so the dishonorable would have been the worst one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you received that dishonorable marking on your F5, what would have happened to your peace officer certification?
I don't know.
Okay, would it have impacted your ability to get appointed as a peace officer in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if you, by resigning, is there any kind of how is your termination described at that point?
It's a general.
Okay, and a general is not a dishonorable.
No, sir.
And actually, sitting here today, you still have your peace officer certification.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it your understanding that you can still be employed as a peace officer with a general marking on your F5?
It's just as hard as it is being dishonorable.
But it's not.
No, it ain't. It's not.
Have
That
you
was
tried to apply
you.
Yes, sir.
what other police
I
departments?
don't believe that.
Fort Bend and Stafford.
And was it because of your F5 that were you told because of your general marking?
No, sir.
Okay. What did they tell you?
They basically stated that due to this incident, they're not going to get involved.
So you think that this incident, you mean the incident on March 4th, 2022? Or
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you talked to any of those police departments about the litigation?
What do you mean? As in the civil litigation?
Yes.
Yes, sir. They know.
Okay. And so you think that it had that also played a part?
I don't know.
Okay. But they did receive a copy of your F5, these other departments?
That I don't know either.
So how would they know that you received a general?
I was upfront and honest with them.
Okay. Because I assume they asked you then.
I told them.
All right. You've been going for about an hour. Let's take a C11, take a brief 5-minute break. Okay. So,
It's active.
I can still see everything but the top of my head.
Yeah.
Time is 11:20 p.m. Is everyone ready? Yep. All right, Mr. Cagle. I just want to clarify. I want to clarify. Were you explicitly told by anyone at the City of Lake Jackson Police Department to not prepare an incident report?
No, they did not tell me not to.
Okay. I just want to clarify, but it sounds like you, in your discussion with the chief, said that you had not yet done an incident report.
It was never brought up. It was only about me resigning or being terminated.
Okay. You made a statement earlier prior to the break that you were told that it would not matter, it would not change the outcome.
After I turned my resignation letter over to Lieutenant Cromines, I asked him if he needed my statement. And at that time, he said if he does not need it, I would resign.
Okay. So you actually submitted a written resignation letter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you provide a copy of that to your attorney?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you ever asked to make a written statement by anybody at the City of Lake Jackson as a result of the March 4th, 2022 incident?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you ever interviewed by any City of Lake Jackson employee as a result of the March 4th, 2022 incident?
No, sir.
Okay. So your understanding was that, were you aware that there was an investigation in the March 4th, 2022 incident?
Well, like I said earlier, when the assistant chief said I was suspended under internal affairs, then I knew that internal affairs is going to be an investigation.
Okay. But no one from internal affairs reached out to you for
No,
your.
sir.
Okay. So were you given the opportunity to give your side of the story of what occurred on March 4th, 2022?
Besides what happened at that incident, no.
Okay. Do you agree with the City of Lake Jackson's determination in this case about? Let me back up. Did you see have you seen the press release from the City of Lake Jackson on this matter?
I was told from a friend about it, but I never looked at it myself.
Okay. So are you aware that the City of Lake Jackson determined that you used unreasonable force?
I was never told that. No.
Were you aware that the City of Lake Jackson thought that you had a erroneous application or understanding of the law?
Understand. Okay, that's what they stand for.
If the chief did not threaten termination, would you ever resign?
No, sir.
You were at the hospital. You also went to the hospital because of a finger injury.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What? Explain to me this injury.
Whenever I was reaching down under Mr. Reyes' upper body to grab his arm to pull it back, somehow my fingers, these two, got completely pulled backwards. They said they were hyperextended.
And when you say these two, what two fingers on what hand?
It's my right hand, little finger, and ring finger.
Okay. And were you evaluated by a medical professional?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the diagnosis?
He said that they were hyperextended, that I needed to follow up with I don't know what he called it, but like a specialist or something.
Okay. Did you ever follow up with anybody about your finger?
No, sir.
Was there any bleeding?
I had cuts on my head and I had cuts on my hand, but I don't know where it came from.
Would you consider the injury to your finger as a severe?
To me, it's severe. It hurt, but I mean, it's not like life-threatening. No.
No, it's not severe, because if it was severe,
And you actually were transported to the hospital by EMS, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at this time, you also understood that Mr. Reyes was bleeding from his head.
I knew that he had blood on his head. I believe it was the back of his head.
Okay. Do you know how that injury occurred?
No, sir, I don't.
Are you also aware that Mr. Reyes was complaining of not being able to breathe?
He made that statement whenever I was finally putting the handcuffs on him.
Okay, is that because you were sitting on him?
I was not sitting on his upper part. I was sitting on his buttocks towards the lower, maybe the middle to the lower of his legs.
Okay. But you understood that
how weird did that sound?
did it appear he was laying on a raised curb?
From his waist up, he was laying on flat grass. It was somewhere around his mid thighs, maybe middle thighs, that were on that curb.
Okay. So, but were you aware that there was not an EMS available for Mr. Reyes?
I have no idea, actually.
Okay. So, do you know who made the decision to give the EMS to you for your finger injuries as opposed to Mr. Reyes?
No, sir, I don't.
During March 2022, were you part of a motorcycle club affiliated with law enforcement?
Yes, sir.
And what is that motorcycle club called?
Los Canales.
How do you spell that?
It's Los is LOS space CORNALES.
Are you still part of that club?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any discussions with any of the club members about this incident?
There's only one that I've spoken to,
Who
and
is
that's Mario
who?
Escamilla.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
What did you say to Mario?
I just advised him that this incident occurred, that it's going to an internal affairs. At that point in time, I didn't know of the civil. After went through the Rangers and the grand jury, I advised him that that part was done, but I think there's a civil, but we never got into conversations of what happened, how it happened, or nothing like that.
Okay, so did you have to talk to Mario about that because the outcome, for example, if there were any criminal charges, would that have impacted your ability to be part of the club?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's talk about what's going on. What are y'all thoughts so far before we continue with this? You know, let's talk about it so far. But this, I don't really think this lawyer is. I don't like the way this lawyer is going about it. I feel like this lawyer is taking a really long route to get to certain points and certain topics. And I don't know if this is a strategy to, to make him more willing to answer questions. That's why he's like, it just seems like he's taking a long time to get to the point, and he won't just ask him certain direct questions. He's been asking a few, but it's just not as direct as, our previous depositions. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's just this lawyer's strategy, hopefully, or like he's, I'm not going to say he's not a good lawyer, because, any lawyer is probably better than me, because I didn't go to law school. So I'm trying to figure out his strategy of why he's, it's just like he's doing long, drawn out, roundabout type of ways to get this officer to just answer simple, direct questions. I don't know if he's trying to be lenient on this officer, or just not as direct as other depositions. Even the previous one we saw with that sergeant, I feel like the questions was more direct, and he got answers for his case from the very beginning. Like the first two questions, he pretty much solidified his case when they were questioning the sergeant in the previous video. This one, it's like, I don't know. It's like it's just drawn out to. I feel like this is long and drawn out when it doesn't need to be. But he's getting them to answer certain questions, very important questions that really solidify the case. But it's just the way he's going about it. I think he's lying through his argument. Yeah. This guy expects people to believe that he just went about his life and didn't really talk to anyone about it. Of course, that's crazy. He's like, and the lawyer is slowly getting tired of the deposition. Has to be, because it's like it's being long and drawn out, and he's just gonna keep lying. Breedis, what's up? Breedis G. I think it's good. You got to relax the guy and not come to them with a machine gun questions. Emperor, yeah, that's why I'm thinking. That's why I say I think that's it. The strategy he's going with. It's not just. I'm just used to them asking. I guess like guns blazing. You just go and ask them. Yeah. I think he wanted to get him a little comfortable, and just willing to open up. Because he's answered some questions that I think he's going to look back at this deposition and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I think he's going to have a lot of those moments with this deposition. I want a Perry Mason moment. Yeah. All right. I just want to see where everybody was at with this. Good. Those are my thoughts. So, like I said, I'm hoping through this, it gets to be more. I want that seat to get a little hot for him, which it already is.
Prior, okay. Now you said when you were asked to give a statement or talk about what occurred, the only time you were given that opportunity was actually out at the scene on March 4th, 2022.
It was the scene, and whenever the lieutenant showed up at the hospital. And then after that, he asked me what had occurred. I explained to him. And then the assistant chief came in probably 30, 45 minutes later. And he asked how my hand was. I said, we're still waiting on x-rays. We don't know. And that's when he said, all right, well, you're suspended under internal affairs. So somebody will come back and pick you up later.
Okay.
That was it.
Did you, were you asked why you took Mr. Reyes to the ground?
I think Lieutenant Cromines asked me, but I don't remember the full extent of the conversation. I mean, it was whenever everything was still going on.
Did you tell any of your supervisors that you took Mr. Reyes to the ground because he initiated contact with you?
I don't remember exactly how I put it. I know I spoke with Sergeant Sestra and Corporal Ryan because he was there. I do know that I told him that he made a movement towards me, and I don't remember exactly how I said it, but that was the reason I took him down.
Okay. So did you do you know if you would have told any of the corporals or sergeants or lieutenants that Mr. Reyes initiated contact with you?
I don't remember exactly how the conversation went. It was a quick talking with them, and that's when next thing I know, they refused to let me go to the hospital into one of the units. They said, get the ambulance, and then they took me to the hospital. And I know that I told him he was pointing a lot, and he was, it felt like he was reaching, and that was the reason I took him down. But I don't remember if I said he touched me or not, no.
Okay. But sitting here today, is it your understanding that Mr. Reyes touched you first?
No, sir. I touched him on his left side first.
Okay.
Yeah, Mouse. I'm trying to see where he's going with this. It's like he not on him like I feel like he should. He letting them kind of be too relaxed with these questions. But I don't know. It could all be a trap. You never know. The more comfortable you get, maybe he'll start saying more of the truth.
Do you know what injuries Mr. Reyes sustained as a result of this incident?
No, sir. I have no idea.
Do you feel bad for what you did to Ms. Reyes?
That's a good question.
I feel bad for the whole situation.
Why not just answer the question? That means no. That means no.
If you were aware that Mr. Reyes had a right to photograph and film the accident.
If somebody asks you, do you feel bad about what you did, and you say you feel bad about the whole situation, why not just say, yeah, I felt bad? That's something, in hindsight, I look back at it and realize I could have did better in that situation.
And seeing from where he was standing, would that have changed how you handled the situation?
Sir, I can't speculate on that. I can't answer that. I don't honestly know. I haven't had the training on that, so I don't know how I would have talked to him. I still would have gone up to him. I still would have asked him if I could help him with something because he's still on that accident scene.
Okay. So I guess I want to clarify that as well. I asked you earlier if when you first approached Mr. Reyes, whether you suspected him of committing any crime. You said no, but then later you said he was interfering with the accident scene. So at what point did you think that Mr. Reyes?
Now, see, I don't like that the officer said he pointed out the contradictions there, but I wonder is he going to point out that contradiction when he said that he wasn't interfering, because I remember that. I remember him saying that very clear. So I want to see where the lawyer is going to go with this.
Started committing a crime.
When he was asked to leave and he refused to leave, that's when the interference started beginning. And that's when the interference happened.
Okay. And is that irrespective of whether the accident investigation was complete or not?
So the whole time the accident wasn't complete. The accident scene was not completed.
Okay. And that was, I recall, I guess another thing you mentioned out on the scene was you called Officer Mendoza over because you said it was his scene, right?
Yes.
Okay, so was Officer Mendoza the I guess officer in charge?
He was the primary officer.
Okay, and so does he make a decision on who's in charge of the accident investigation?
Officer Mendoza is in charge of writing the accident report. Yes.
Right.
Both officers are still there for the safety of that scene until all vehicles have left, records have left, and law enforcement has left. That's when the scene is complete.
Okay, so there's not a designated officer that dictates when the investigation is concluded?
That, like I just said, it's whenever everybody leaves the scene is when it's completed.
Okay, so there's no act or declaration that says this is now complete?
No, sir, because if Officer Mendoza decided to leave during the middle of the accident and that records and the cars are still on the roadway, it's still an accident scene. We still have to protect it.
You called before the physical interaction with Mr. Reyes, when you were still speaking with him, you radioed for a supervisor.
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long it took a supervisor to get to the scene?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. If you knew a supervisor was on the way, why did you physically attempt to remove Mr. Reyes?
I didn't know if the supervisor was on the way or not. Just because I called it out over the radio doesn't mean that they either heard me or that they're responding. I don't know if they're on another call.
Whatever, guy. Whatever. Liar, liar.
So, for clarification, at any point on March 4th, 2022, did you intend to arrest Mr. Reyes?
At the time of the incident, no. I was only detaining him.
Okay. At any point, did you make a decision or intend to arrest Mr. Reyes?
Like I advised, when I detained him, that's as far as I went, because then I was pulled away from him from that point.
Okay.
So when he was on the ground, I detained him. I was talking to Corporal Ryan. That's when I got up and I walked off because Corporal Ryan took over the scene. From that point, I don't know what happened with Mr. Reyes.
Did you make any recommendations to anybody about arresting Mr. Reyes?
I advised Corporal Ryan and I think also Sergeant Sestra of the incident of what the charges possibly could be, but at no time did anybody ever say they're going to arrest Mr. Reyes. No.
Yep.
In front of me, no one ever made that they were going to arrest Mr. Reyes.
Okay. Do you recall when you were speaking to supervisors on the scene on March 4th, 2022, what were you telling them that Mr. Reyes was doing?
I said that he interfered in the investigation. He also refused ID. And then I don't remember whether I explained to him that he was reaching for something or that's whenever he touched or somehow.
Did you ever tell them that he was filming or photographing license plates?
I did say that.
Okay. Did anybody question you or inform you that that was not against the law?
No, sir.
Did anybody out on the scene, any law enforcement officer, question your decision to take Mr. Reyes down to the ground?
No, sir.
Does the city of Lake Jackson, at least in March 2022, was there a use of force report or form for use of force incidents?
There is a use of force continuum that all departments have.
Right, there's a continuum, but is there a form that you would have to fill out for each use of force incident?
I know we do the incident reports, and that's the incident that would go into the report. I can't recall any, like a specific piece of paper for use of force.
Okay. Do you understand the different types of resistance? Do you know what active resistance versus passive resistance is?
Is that a legal question?
It's a
legal question.
If it's a use of force question, it's never anything I've ever seen.
Okay. And so when you talk about the continuum, there's a lower end, right?
There's the presence.
The presence.
Correct.
And then it escalates all the way up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you say presence, you mean officer presence?
Officer presence.
Okay. And then at some point, there's open hand techniques.
That's a third step.
Okay. What's the second?
Verbal.
verbal. And when can you transition from the verbal use of force to the open hand techniques use of force?
Whenever the safety is concerning at that point. If the person is not listening to the verbal commands, that's when you use the open hand technique. And that's where I was at.
Okay, so the suspect's level of resistance matters, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, and are you aware if the City of Lake Jackson use of force policy describes the difference between active and passive resistance?
I don't know.
Okay, and are you also aware that interference? Well, let me back up. Did you now you talked about interfering with the crime scene or the accident scene, right?
Yes.
Is that different from interfering with the public duties?
Yes.
Okay. So did you think that Mr. Reyes was interfering with public duties?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware of whether or not that Mr. Reyes was permitted to interfere, or that's not a crime to interfere with public duties if it's by verbal alone?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you think that Mr. Reyes was doing more than just verbal resistance?
Yes, sir.
How so?
When he was on the scene and refused to leave, that's whenever he starts to interfere. It's still a crime scene.
Okay. Did you ever tell Mr. Reyes where exactly he could go?
We were pointing him over towards my unit.
Okay. You were pointing him towards your unit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you specifically tell him your unit?
No, sir.
Okay. So you were just generally pointing to where your vehicle was?
We told him to go over there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Okay, but
he couldn't help himself.
and you also asked Mr. Reyes to leave.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever tell him where he could be without having to leave?
No, sir.
1 second.
Go over there.
I have no further questions today. I pass.
I do. I do. Exhibit 1 on this will be his personnel status report, and Exhibit 2 will be the civilian interaction training program.
Yeah, man. Shaky ground. Shaky ground.
Mark these first. Before or after, doesn't matter. Grab the place, which one we're going to do. The civilian interaction is number 2. Cagle, my name is Joseph Cagle. I represent the City of Lake Jackson in this particular matter. I have handed you 2 documents. One is got an Exhibit 1 on it. It's your Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Personnel Status Report. You see that, sir?
Yes, sir.
And what I've done is put a post-it on the page I want you to get to. And I have used a pencil to make a check by a course that's got 30418 by it. You see that, sir?
Yes, sir. Last bit.
So which page is it posted? Page 6. So
Very last
right-hand corner. Thank you. And that 30418 is a civilian interaction training course that was done on January 6th, 2022. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall attending that course at some OSS Academy?
That was online.
An online course?
Yes, sir.
So what you do is you sit down and you have a computer screen and you look at it, right,
Yes, sir.
And if you go to the posted on Exhibit 2, it'll be page 3.3, visual audio recording of traffic stops. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
And I'll just go through in the second paragraph. You see that, sir?
Yes, sir.
In Texas, citizens have the right to make video or audio recordings of almost any transaction which they are an active participant with. This includes interactions with law enforcement.
Hold on. Hold up, y'all. That eye twitch was crazy. But anyway, I just want to address this comment from Mouse. So his entire approach to Rez about recording personal license plates is a crime. That was his stance. Was totally was unnecessary and intended to bully. He should have left the man alone. I agree. A lot of these can be avoided if they would just leave people alone. God, why is it so hard to just leave people alone? Focus on your job, go about your business, and leave people alone. I don't know why they want to bully everybody and, oh, you can't record me doing my job. Yes, we can. It's actually our duty to do it. We're actually, that's the citizens' duty to make sure everything is going smoothly with the government. It's a duty. It's not just, oh, somebody the fact that people don't know that we are supposed to be doing this. Every citizen is actually supposed to be a auditor, because, well, I'm gonna say every citizen every citizen, because if you're a citizen of the United States of America, you have constitutional rights. One of the rights is to redress your government. So another right is the first, you got the First Amendment that gives you freedom of press, that allows you to go in public and speak or gather content without being harassed or it's just amazing to me that that people have an issue with the duty of citizens. Like, other citizens really get upset about people exercising their rights, which is insane to me. But that's how it goes. But I twitched that this officer just had was crazy. So I'm gonna back it up a little bit and we're gonna catch that again. That was crazy.
Look at it, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you go to the posted on Exhibit 2, it'll be page 10. 3.3 visual audio recording of traffic stops. Yes, sir?
Yes.
And I'll just go through in the second paragraph. We start in Texas, you see that, sir?
Yes.
In Texas, citizens have the right to make video or audio recordings of almost any transaction in which they are an active participant or witness. This includes interactions with law enforcement, such as traffic stops, period. Witnesses may legally record video of peace officers as they interact with the public in much the same way that officers record the same transactions, period. Citizens may not, however, do so in a manner that physically impedes an officer's or other public servant's ability to perform his or her duties, period. For example, they cannot physically place themselves between an officer and someone the officer is attempting to search or arrest, period. It is reasonable for officers to ask them to stand a safe distance from the officer or others, or to remove them from an active crime scene in order to protect the integrity of the crime scene, period. I read all that correctly, sir?
Yes.
All right, now, this online course that you took, was that directed by the city of Lake Jackson? Did you take that course?
No, sir.
That's something you did voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And when you sat, and you'd already started the city of Lake Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when you are acquiring, I think you said you left Missouri County to come to a smaller agency to increase your law enforcement knowledge baseline?
Yes, in my career.
All right, so you're doing things to enhance your career.
Yes, sir.
And in enhancing your career, acquiring this type of information about civilian interaction training
yes,
is an enhancement, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you were asked a question, if you were aware that Reyes was entitled to video, would that have somehow changed your interaction with him? Remember that question, sir?
Yes.
Now, obviously, when you took that online,
I don't want to keep pausing it, but I just want to say I'm kind of liking the person asking the questions now, because they seem like they're going to be a lot more direct. We'll see.
Of course, did you pay attention?
Yes, sir.
Did you take any notes when you were taking that course? Sir?
No, sir.
Do you recall when they talked about the right in Texas for people to videotape?
Yes, sir.
And since you knew that he had a right to videotape, was him having his cell phone out in any way, shape, or form the reason you acted towards him the way you did?
No, sir.
As I understand your testimony, the reason you acted with Mr. Reyes the way you did was because of his location vis-a-vis potential traffic coming off of 288/332 that might create a hazard to him if somebody hits. I think you said there was a fire department truck that was parked.
Yes, sir.
They hit that, there's a chain of events, and he ends up getting caught up in the wash. Fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And so your concerns were safety,
Yes, sir.
not whether or not videotaping was allowed, right?
That's correct.
Because you knew based on that online course that videotaping in Texas was allowed by citizens, right?
Yes, sir.
And that was information you had while you were employed by the city of Lake Jackson, true?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you didn't need the city of Lake, for example, when you got to the city of Lake Jackson, you had a peace officer's license issued by the state of Texas, true?
Yes, sir.
And you brought that knowledge base with you to the city of Lake Jackson, true?
Yes, sir.
You merely wanted to increase your knowledge base once you got here.
Can I explain on that?
Certainly, sir.
I came over here more for the mental health. That's where my expertise was. I came to Lake Jackson to get back into policing. That's the reason I came here.
Okay. Well, since you want to get back into policing, you understood that in getting back into policing from the mental health arena, you might need to get some other information about new trends, such as videotaping, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you know when you were with Brazoria County that the public was entitled to videotape police activities?
No, sir.
So you got that information on or about January 6th, 2022, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
When you took that online course.
Yes, sir.
That's the first time you, as best you recall, had some information about videotaping in the state of Texas and that being allowed, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, so we take away, you're not saying that you did not have information about the ability of a citizen in the state of Texas to video police activities, right?
Sir.
Okay, you are not saying that you did not have knowledge that in the state of Texas, citizens can videotape police activities.
Yes, sir.
You knew that, true?
Yes, sir.
You knew that after you completed that online course, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
You knew that if this event happened on or about March 4th, 2022, then as of January 6th, 2022, you knew that in the state of Texas, videotaping was allowed of police activity, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
No one had to train you about that because you had that knowledge, true?
Yes, sir.
I mean, for example, did you know how to use a firearm when you came to the city like that?
Yes, sir.
Did you need to be trained about how to use a firearm?
No, sir.
Did you know how to drive a patrol car when you got to the city like Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Did you need to be trained about how to drive a patrol car?
No, sir.
Okay, now, did you know how to put handcuffs on somebody who got to the city like Jackson?
Yes, sir.
Did you need training on that?
No, sir.
On how to put handcuffs on?
No, sir.
Okay. When did you first get training on how to put handcuffs on?
In the academy.
All right. So at the Houston Community College.
Yes, sir.
And you've been doing that for, I guess, since you got in law enforcement.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you go back to that exhibit number 1, sir, on the first page, they've got kind of a service history of you, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And it starts when you were the.
I don't know what it is about the interviewer who's asking the questions now, but man, the energy is definitely different, and he is he definitely seems a lot more nervous with this guy asking questions than the previous person. It's obvious, really, but yeah. What do y'all notice the difference with the way he's responding to the person asking the questions now during the interview versus the one before? Because man, I definitely notice a big difference.
reserve officer at the Brookside Village Police Department from January 10th of 2000 to May 16th of 2000, right, sir?
Yes.
And then the next, you're with Brookside Village Police Department as a peace officer, right?
I was still reserved. That's a clarificational error on Brookside.
I guess I'm just reading what's on
Yes,
your
sir. Yes, sir. I've tried to get it fixed because it's different on time served.
So what it should say is you were a reserve officer.
Yes, sir.
Did you have a peace officer license?
Yes, sir.
And even though you are, quote, a reserve peace officer, do you have all the same powers that the state of Texas gives to licensed peace officers?
Yes, sir, because reserve is a licensed peace officer.
Meaning you can arrest people that you see violating penal code provisions.
Yes, sir.
If they're violating transportation code provisions, speeding, running through stop signs, you can stop them and issue traffic tickets.
Yes, sir.
Because you are a licensed peace officer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, so that does your tenure with Brookside end in March 10th of 2005?
Yes, sir.
So you're there there appear to be two times. Were you in the construction business between May of 2000 to November 26th of 2004 or so?
Yes, sir.
That's a weird question.
And so that little gap there is when you were in the construction business.
That's when I went into it, was in 2000.
I'm just going to write construction on my.
Relax.
So you get back into it in November of 2004.
Yes, sir.
And you stay with these folks for 3 months until March 10th of 2005.
Yes, sir.
Then you go to Missouri County as November of 2012, right, sir?
Yes, sir. November 15th.
And you are, well, actually, tell me how this works. You start November of 2012. I see in here that you were a jailer license in April of 2013 to September of 2013. How was that working, sir? Did they hire you in November 2012 and then ship you to the jail?
Yes, sir. In November of 2012, I went in, and that's when I had to do some courses through them, ride with different officers. Whenever everything got set up and done, there was no openings in patrol. So that's when they put me in the jail. The reason that the jailer's there is because when you go in the jail, you have to have what's called a jailer's license through TCOL. They give you a temporary jailer's license for 1 year. After that 1 year, you have to go through jail school or you lose a license. So whenever I left in, September 23rd of 2013 is when I went to full-time patrol.
So, and that reflects that. It shows you were 6 months in the Brazos, Missouri County, jail with
Yes.
a temporary jail license. And then the rest of your time after that would be on patrol. And that ended August 13th of 2021, right, sir?
I wasn't in patrol the whole time. No, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm talking about your tenure with the department.
Yes,
because you were with mental health for roughly 6 years.
Yes, sir.
You were patrol 2 years.
Yes, sir. About 3 years.
Yeah. But the next entry is you with Lake Jackson.
What is it about this interviewer's voice that is hitting his heart so hard versus the other interviewer? Because it's like everything he's asking them or his words are just hitting way different than the previous interviewer. Like, it's obvious. I don't even have to say, like, it's obvious. But I like it. This is how I would have wished the whole first hour went, but it's all good.
August of 2021, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And then you go, and so you're there, you go through the field training operation with a field training officer for X number of time, right, sir, with Lake Jackson?
Yes, sir.
And at some point in time, you get let go and you are the 2-man patrols or 1-man?
Just 1-man patrol.
Okay. You're now 1-man patrol. January of 2022, you take the online course, right?
Yes, sir.
About civilian interaction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, am I correct then when you tell me that it's online? Again, going back to this page with the little posted on it.
Yes, sir. Ooh,
If I see OSS Academy, that's all online?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, were all these online courses things that you did voluntarily, or did somebody from the city of Jackson suggest you take?
At that time, that's when the city of Lake Jackson actually got a contract with OSS Academy to where it was free for certain courses for the officers. So instead of paying out of pocket, it was, I don't know exactly, and I don't remember how they clarified it, but it was where we can go in, we can take the training that we needed or that we wanted, basically.
When were you informed that the city of Lake Jackson had an agreement with the OSS Academy such that its police officers could go online to get training?
This only goes back to January 14th. Oh, sorry, December 26th.
Yes, sir. I did not print it all, but here's what I'm going to do.
Because anytime after I was hired with the city of Lake Jackson, when I started on the OSS Academy,
Yes, sir.
that's when they had already started the program. I don't know if it was October, November, or December.
Okay. And what I'm doing now is accessing your records. I just didn't print everything out. Now, on page 7, what I'm looking at, sir, shows some. There is a 9/23 2021 OSS Academy course called 87th Session State and Federal Law Update.
That I paid for.
That you paid for.
Yes, sir.
And the next OSS I see is 11/27/2021 OSS Field Sobriety.
Won't be in that situation.
That was already when Lake Jackson started, because I remember taking that course. Because I can't remember if I took the SFSTs before or after that course.
Well, let me tell you what your record shows. There's an F period, S period, F period, S period, T period practitioner course on November 18th of 2021 at the Freeport Police Department.
Yes, sir.
So that's the chronology that I'm looking at here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so are you telling me that by November 27th, 2021, at that point in time, you knew the city of Lake Jackson had an agreement with the OSS Academy for its officers to go and receive online training at no cost to the officer?
On certain courses, yes, sir.
On certain courses?
Yes, sir.
And apparently civilian interaction training was one of those certain courses.
Yes, sir.
And so you went and you took that course about civilian interaction, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, you're probably a little too young to remember who Paul Harvey was.
I have no idea.
I know you don't. He used to have a radio show in which he would, your lawyer smiling, he's old like me, in which he would say something, he'd get part of a story, and he would think one thing, and he would say, and now for the rest of the story, and it would be a totally different item. And that's why I say that. So you've gotten, quote, the rest of the story from me about what I didn't print out, which is on your record.
Yes,
sir. And the important thing to me is that you knew that the city of Lake Jackson, in order to enhance their officers' basic knowledge, what I call baseline, as an officer, they had a contract with OSS Academy where its officers could take courses like you did on civilian interaction training, right?
Objection.
You answer the question?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you took that course.
We did.
All right, now, let me ask you this, sir. You were asked a question about a news release and the content of the news release by the city of Lake Jackson after this event. Remember that question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, I wrote down that a part of the question dealt with some unreasonable use of force. Was that part of the question? Do you remember?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. This particular news release, sir, it says it's got a March, it says for immediate release, March 9th, 2022 at 3 p.m. And it says March 4th, 2022 incident, internal affairs findings. And you never read this news release, true?
No, sir. I had to get off of all social media.
I understand. And here's what it says. The Lake Jackson Police Department and City of Lake Jackson would like to express our gratitude for the patience afforded to us by the citizens of Lake Jackson while we thoroughly investigated an unfortunate incident regarding the actions of 2 of our officers on March 4th, 2022. Their actions were based on an erroneous understanding of law, period, which resulted in an arrest of a citizen who was legally videotaping a nearby traffic accident. Police department supervision quickly discovered the error, released the citizen, and initiated our internal affairs process, period.
Do y'all see his something is going on with his breathing, and he's twitching. It's like he about to pass out or something. Y'all tell me what's going on with this guy. something's definitely happening. His breathing and his facial twitches is, I don't know, man. I think like he about to have a stroke or something. I pray you don't, though.
At this time, the Internal Affairs investigation is complete, and we have taken appropriate action given the circumstances of the incident. Period. As of this morning, before conclusion of the investigation, we accepted the resignation of Officer Johnny Cagle for disposition of the Lake Jackson Police Department. Period. Officer Mendoza, who was also a subject of the investigation, will receive a period of unpaid leave and is required to participate in remedial training in the areas of law of concern in this incident. Period. We're also in consultation with the District Attorney's Office for confirmation of whether the actions of the officers rise to the level of criminal responsibility. Period. We work hard every day to earn and keep the trust of the people we serve here in Lake Jackson. And as we move forward as a community, the Lake Jackson Police Department recommits itself to the tenets of delivering professional and courteous service, preserving the peace, and enforcing the law and Constitution to make a safe environment for all citizens. Period. That's the news release, sir.
Joe, before you ask the questions, can you tell me what's the base number on that document, just so we have that around?
You can get to that part of it. I didn't. So I'm getting something different on there. I will try to find that.
I'm not questioning that you read it correctly. I just want to make sure we have a record reference for it.
I get it.
Since it's not in the record.
I was trying to get that before we continue. Okay, now let me ask you this, sir. Did you have some contact with the District Attorney's Office, sir?
No, not until after the Texas Rangers contacted me.
Okay, then that indicates to me you did have some contact with the District Attorney's Office, right?
To the Texas Rangers, okay.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yes,
because what it says here, we're also in consultation with the District Attorney's Office for confirmation on whether the action of the officers rise to the level of criminal responsibility. Has anybody told you that your conduct rose to the level of criminal responsibility?
I'm not sure what you're asking. I know during the interview with the Rangers, they advised me of possible charges, but when I went through the grand jury, it was no bill.
Bottom line is, when I ask about the level of criminal responsibility, in my mind, what I'm asking you is, did anybody charge you criminally?
No, sir.
Okay. It was investigated and taken to citizens here in Missouri County that comprise a grand jury, and they concluded that there was not enough evidence from their perspective to initiate what they would call a true bill and get you charged with anything.
Yes, sir.
Now, there was a question that was posed to you, and it was if you were aware that plaintiff was entitled, I said Reyes, I put plaintiff, that Reyes was entitled to video, would that have changed your interaction with her? I think your response was, I cannot speculate, but I had no training on videotape. Did I get that answer right, sir?
Yes, sir.
That's why I want you to look at that OSS map. Do you see now that you did receive some training on videotape?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever, and here's what happens with people. They forget things. And part of what I try to do, I use little examples in communicating, okay? Do you remember when the United States Senate was investigating baseball players for steroid use?
I don't know when it was. I remember hearing something about it, but I couldn't tell you anything about it.
You just know what happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one of the people that was questioned by the Senate is Roger Clemens. You know who that is, right?
Yes, sir.
In one of the responses to the question, where Roger Clemens kind of changed information, Roger said, I misremembered. I love that phrase, I misremembered. My question to you now is, did you misremember that you received this training when you responded to the question that you didn't get any training on?
I forgot it that I even had that training.
I understand. But you did, true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you indicated that until the scene is cleared, that both officers are in charge to ensure safety, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think you told us that you were sent to the scene originally to help Officer Mendoza with essentially traffic control type issues.
Yes, sir.
And you indicated that You moved your vehicle from one spot to another spot to try to control traffic.
Yes, sir.
I think on the exit from the mall to 332.
Yes, sir.
And you indicated there was at least one time where a motorist who was concerned about, I guess, Ms. Bond, who apparently was a sister of her, almost made contact with another vehicle at the scene. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
Is that the sort of thing that was your concern about safety with respect to where Mr. Reyes was located doing whatever he was doing at the scene?
Yes, sir.
Now, did you ever hear Officer Mendoza ask Mr. Reyes to move near your unit, which was close to the Starbucks, for his safety?
I don't remember if he said unit or not. I do know that Officer Mendoza did tell him to just move, go over there. But I don't remember the full extent of every single word.
Okay. So, but you do recall Officer Mendoza requesting Mr. Reyes to move to a location nearer to your unit.
Yes, sir.
You didn't use the words to him, safety. Don't know whether or not safety was uttered by Officer Mendoza to him to communicate, this is for your safety. Move from this location to another spot.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were on Mr. Reyes' buttocks, were your knees on the ground, sir?
My knees were on the curb.
So your knees were on the curb.
Yes, sir.
So one knee, were both knees on the curb?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so your legs are straddling him while your knees are on the curb?
Yes, sir.
So I assume your body weight is being held up by your knees.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you were in the Houston Community College Police Academy, did they have a use of force training for you?
Yes, sir.
Those terms, active and passive resistance, were those things that you recall hearing when you were in that course?
No, so I don't recall.
When you got to Missouri County, was active and passive resistance anything you heard about?
When I was on patrol, I don't remember any of that.
And the 7 months you were with the city like Jackson, never heard of active and passive resistance?
I can't remember that either, sir.
Now, were there any, when Mr. Reyes, if your recollection, Mr. Reyes moved his right arm up, I think you said a couple of times, underneath your left arm when you were trying to guide him away from where that unsafe location from your perspective?
Yes, sir.
You touch him, and does he immediately knock your hand off or knock your arm off?
I can't speculate on the time. I don't know. It was a few seconds. I just don't know. I can't tell you 1 second. I can't tell you 15 seconds.
I understand. Well, some of us have looked at the video, so we know what at least our perspective of time on video. But is that when any, would you consider the use of his right arm against your left arm to be passive resistance or active resistance?
It'd be more active resistance.
Did he ever give you any advance warning that he was going to use his right arm to dislodge your hand from his body?
No, sir.
Once he did that, then was the decision made to take him to the ground?
Yes, sir.
While you were at the scene, were your motor vehicle?
So if a grown man comes up to you and tries to put his hands on you to escort you or guide you to an area that you don't want to go, and you you as a man or a woman decides, no, get your hands off me, Leave me alone. What are you doing? That when you're dealing with tyrannical law enforcement, that is grounds to get you arrested. And not only that's grounds to get you arrested, assaulted, and they're gonna arrest you, assault you, put charges on you, lock you up, all for you following the law. That is horrible, man. That is horrible. And in what world would that ever be okay, to where a random person, just because they got on this costume, believe that they can have power over you, when that is not their job description? Well, I'm not gonna say. I don't even know what their job description truly is. So, it seems like they are. It seems like their goal is to be the muscle for the government. They're I don't know, man. I don't want to. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I'm just gonna go back and let this video play.
Accident. Was that part of your official duties at the scene of this motor vehicle collision?
No, sir. Not the accident.
Well, traffic control.
Traffic control. I'm talking about the two vehicles that collided.
Yes, sir.
That was Officer Mendoza that was doing the report. I was there for the traffic, the safety of the people.
Correct. Your duties involve traffic control.
Oh, yes, sir.
And your traffic control duties and safety of the people, is it your position that Mr. Reyes, where he was located, was interfering with those duties?
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Do you know whether or not there are any provisions of the penal code that deal with interference with public duties?
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether or not, as a peace officer, you are entitled to detain someone for violating a penal code provision dealing?
Hold on, yeah. We're gonna get back to that, but this is another one. They'll say you're resisting if they push you and your arms come up to catch your balance. Like, yeah, pretty much, man. It's crazy. That's resistance. They slamming you face down on the ground. You put your arm up to not have your face smash on the concrete, and they'll call that resisting. They'll punch you in the face and say you're resisting by trying to cover your face from getting punched in the face. Like, it's, man. What is it? Sad to say, man. Sad to say. Let's keep going.
Interfering with public duties.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you know whether or not where Mr. Reyes was located, if his use of words to you and Officer Mendoza was creating a potential disturbance?
Check and form. To me, it was.
To your what?
Was your traffic control activities an official proceeding, sir, from your perspective?
I'm sorry.
Official proceeding meaning consistent with you being a police officer doing your traffic control duties at this scene, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you know whether or not Mr. Reyes's conduct, the use of words, the verbal things, the potential disturbance would hinder your ability to do your traffic control duties at the city.
Yes, objection.
Do you know whether or not there are any penal code provisions dealing with hindering proceedings by disorderly conduct?
Yes, sir.
As a peace officer, you're entitled to arrest people for class A misdemeanor, sir.
Yes, sir. Since you're looking something, witness needs to take a virtual break.
We're off the record.
It's 12:20.
Yeah, bro.
I'm doing email you that news release and put the exhibit 3. We're off the record.
It's 12:20.
I'm doing email you that news release and put the exhibit 3 on that one.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can wait to get out that seat.
Brandon at
Brandon. It should populate. So
Yeah, it should.
So Brandon.
Yeah, you could just send it to
No. Brandon at G2 Law.
Yep, $2.
Everybody's gonna get this.
SOS.
For recording purposes, it started back at 12:27.
You said it, man. You said it. I have to keep remembering that the camera is actually over here versus because I'm usually in front of the camera, so I have to remember when I'm speaking, I need to like talk to y'all. That's it. That's not the sole purpose, but that's what they're acting right now, and it's because the people don't keep the government in check. That's all. That's all it is. The government is supposed to act on behalf of the people, but the people don't know that. So the more people that start remembering, and act on that, then the government will be in check because the people are keeping them in check.
Go back to record. What we've done is
But
we've attached as exhibit
people-
number 3 the news release that I read.
Forgetting the power.
And that's been sent to the court reporter and to respective counsel. With that, sir, that concludes my question. Time. Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't know, Skip, but we'll move kind of fast.
We can talk about Exhibit 2 real quick, if you could take a look at that. I just want to clarify some things here. This document states Civil Interaction Training Program. It has the course number. Do you see anything in this 11-page document indicating that it's from the OSS Academy?
No, sir. I haven't read the whole thing, so
Okay.
I don't.
When you take courses from the OSS Academy, it's online, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's generally videos.
Sometimes video, sometimes just literature.
Okay, and it's also a slideshow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this specific course as well, it says it was 2 hours long, according to your T-hole records. Is it fair to say that if the training was provided by the OSS Academy, it would clearly state on Exhibit 2 that this was part of the OSS Academy?
I can't speculate on that. I don't know. I've never printed anything out like this online.
Okay, while you were talking about the OSS Academy course, I actually went on to purchase the course. I may have to try to see if I can save it or not, but and I may have to do it by at least a screenshot so I can. Actually, it was a video, I guess.
Well, we're not going to question him about things that have not been produced in the litigation.
Yeah, man.
Okay, got it, understood. So you testified earlier, and I just want to make sure that you said that you had received no training, but then the moment you were shown Exhibit 2, you said, "Oh yeah, I did get training." Which is it?
I don't remember that being in this training.
Okay.
That's been almost a year now.
Okay. but the incident at issue occurred March 2022, right?
Yes, sir.
And your T-Cole records says you received civilian interaction training program. What month?
It says January.
January 2022.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so January, precisely to be exact, I guess it said January 6th, 2022.
Yes, sir.
So that would have been within 90 days of the March 4th, 2022 incident, right?
Yes, sir.
And so if you did in fact receive training on that, would you have remembered receiving that training within the 90-day period?
I can't, I don't know, because I mean, you can see I took so many courses since then.
But this, when it says civilian interaction training program, sitting here today, do you actually know what that training entailed?
At this point in time, no.
Okay, so even when you were shown Exhibit 2, you don't actually know if the contents in Exhibit 2 mirrored the training you received in January of 2022.
No, sir, I can't say.
Okay. Second thing I want to show you is, I'm going to share my screen here. It's what's Bates labeled as Reyes 1.
Which is crazy.
This is your document 1 and your document production.
Yes. Take a look at that. Oh. What did I just do? Where's split screen? Okay, you see at the top of this document, it says to Officer Cagle,
Yes, sir.
and it says from Paul, how do you say his last name?
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau?
Yes, sir.
That's spelled Kibodeaux. And his position, Chief of Police?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the date on this is March 9, 2022.
Yes, sir.
Now, on the bottom of this document, you see where the chief signed it?
Yes, sir.
And it also says received by, and then there's a handwriting, resigned before termination.
Yes, sir.
Did you ever receive the letter from the Chief of Police that I'm showing you here at Reyes 1?
To my knowledge, no. This is what he read a minute ago, correct?
No, that's the, this is, he read a press release.
Okay.
And you're talking, you're talking about Mr. Gallier.
Internal.
If you're in the chat, hit the like button.
Let me know when you want.
If you're on the stream, hit the like button.
You can scroll down a little bit.
This twitching is something different. This is the first time I'm seeing lights.
Okay, so you had a chance to write the letter at Reyes 1.
Mhm.
Yes?
Like,
Yes, sir. I just read it.
Okay, this is the first time you've seen this letter?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
To my knowledge, it is.
Okay.
It's not just.
So when you met with the chief in March of 2022, where you were asked to resign,
You might have to
was
rest.
this letter read to you?
No, sir.
And so were you ever informed, of this first sentence here where it says, I am sustaining the policy violation of unsatisfactory performance by a sworn officer?
No, sir.
Okay, and then it says here, while trying to address a concern from one of the persons involved in the traffic accident about someone recording, the citizen you approached was advised, and you took extreme action based on the erroneous belief that taking images of a license plate in public was against the law. You see that?
I see it.
And then the very next sentence says, the citizen, completely within the law and not suspect of any criminal activity, was not required to show identification. You see that?
I see it.
Is it your understanding that in the reference of this letter mentions IA 2022-03-001? You see that?
Yes, sir.
So is it your understanding that this is a letter from an internal affairs investigation?
I have no idea.
Okay. But before the chief wrote this, that the citizen, completely within the law and not suspected of any criminal activity, is it your understanding that all of the body worn camera would have been reviewed?
I don't. I would say it would. I mean, it's 5 days after.
Okay. And but this determination was made, would you agree, without talking to you about it?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Is it your understanding that the chief reached this conclusion that the citizen was completely within the law and not suspected of any criminal activity without getting your side of the story?
I can't. I don't know how to. I can't answer that.
Well, you weren't interviewed by anyone
No.
from Internal Affairs.
No, I was never interviewed by Internal Affairs. None of the conversation was brought up about this.
Okay, and you were never asked to make any written statements.
No, sir.
And no one asked you for your version of things in a report.
No, sir.
And but it looks here that the chief of police for the city of Lake Jackson acknowledged that Mr. Reyes was completely within the law. Right?
That's what it says.
Okay. And then it says here, with your training and vast experience, these 2 points of the law should have been quite evident to you. So do you agree with the chief's representation that Mr. Reyes was completely within the law?
I can't. I don't know how to. I don't know.
Well, you were just testifying after the city's council asked you about disturbances and interference and all of these things. That's not in this letter, is it?
No, sir.
And then it says, too, the following points is, I must also sustain the policy violation of use of force under the portion of the policy which states, quote, not more force in any situation that is reasonably necessary under the circumstances, close quote. See that?
I see it.
Following sentence, if affecting a lawful arrest, the use of force, the force used in the incident was only that necessary to overcome resistance. But in this case, the force used was unnecessary in that the arrest was unnecessary. See that?
I see.
Okay. So do you agree with the chief's position here that the force used was unnecessary and that the arrest was unnecessary?
No, sir.
Okay. Why don't you agree with
Because I didn't arrest him.
that? Okay. Were you ever afforded the opportunity to tell any City of Lake Jackson employee about whether or not you arrested Mr. Reyes?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm gonna drop that.
Okay, so basically, at least on that letter from the chief of police, well, let me ask you this. Did you receive any correspondence or any communication, whether verbal or written, from anyone with the city of Lake Jackson to suggest that Mr. Reyes at any time was accused of any criminal conduct?
No, sir.
Thank you for your time and pass.
Back to exhibits 1 and 2 on the table.
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 1 is the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Personal Status Report. Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And it's pretty much, how would you characterize exhibit number 1, sir?
That's what I see on the computer.
So it's your history as a law enforcement,
For
as
me.
a T-code licensed peace officer, right?
Yes, sir.
And any courses that you took that were T-code certified and or met T-code requirements.
Yes, sir.
And the number that on the exhibit number 1 for that course that you took, that's a T-code number. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Then we looked at 30418. You look at exhibit 2. Civilian Interaction Training Program. Whose course is that?
It's technically Tico's course.
It's got that big little, I guess, mark on this. It's Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, right?
Yes, sir.
Got that same course number, right?
Yes, sir.
30418.
Yes, sir.
Has it been your experience as a peace officer that when you take a specific T-code course with a particular course number, that the content of the material is going to be the same?
Yes, sir.
So when we look at that 3.3 visual or audio recording part, if it's offered by the OSS Academy, consistent with the T-code provisions, then the content would be the same.
Yes, sir.
I'll reserve another question for time to drop.
Mr. Cagle, are you a T-Cole certified instructor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so you understand that you have a lot of flexibility in giving a T-Cole course?
We don't have flexibility in a Tico course.
Well, you're not given the material from T-Cole.
No.
You have to come up with the material yourself, right?
No, sir. The course is actually written by somebody and submitted to Tico for approval.
Okay, and so when we look at Exhibit 2, this is not, when you flip open to page 2, for example, it talks about abstract, right? The title.
Yes, sir.
And the very first sentence says, this guide is designed to assist the instructor in developing the appropriate lesson plan.
Yes.
Okay, so Exhibit 2 itself is not actually a lesson plan.
No, sir.
Okay, and so, again, prior to today, you have not seen Exhibit 2.
I can't recall it.
Okay, and have you ever prepared any courses for the OSS Academy?
No, sir.
So, sitting here today, do you know if the OSS Academy prepared courses, any of their courses pursuant to the TCOL abstracts?
I don't know.
Okay, so all the questions you're getting about the OSS Academy and the quality of their courses, you're just speculating.
I mean, it's the course that we take. I mean, I can't say that OSS wrote it. I can't say Clausen Buck wrote it. I can't say you or I wrote it. I don't know.
Okay, just to be fair, on March 4th, 2022, prior to that point, did anyone from the city of Lake Jackson tell you whether or not an individual had a right to film police activity?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, and you told a number of officers on the scene about Reyes engaged in the activity of filming or photographing the scene.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and those officers you told included supervisors?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it included other officers?
I remember Mendoza. I don't remember who all was there. There was other officers there.
Okay, but you told your version of the events a couple of times?
Yes, sir.
Okay, did any City of Lake Jackson police officer out on the scene ever question or tell you that what Mr. Reyes was doing was lawful?
No, sir.
Wow. Nobody stepped in and said, hey,
Is not law, and police officers do lawful.
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any questions about Vermil's contract? You're done.
Taking pictures of other people's vehicles and license plates, which is against the law.
Taking photography.
Not here, not right now, okay?
Okay, what are you going to do if I don't stop? What is your purpose of you being here right now? You have an accident scene, go deal with it.
Okay, this action is said and done. These records are now.
Then walk away. You're dismissed. I don't need you here.
Okay,
I'm not leaving anywhere.
You need to go.
A federal lawsuit filed by Rolando Reyes against Lake Jackson and several of its current and former police officers have been settled. Here is a recap of the incident and highlights of the assisting officer's deposition.
What did you say now?
I asked you, why are you here?
I said I'm taking photos.
Okay. Are you allowed on this accident scene?
hold on. Let me see. Do y'all want to just go into part 2, or do y'all want to, let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to go for the part 2 right now. Put a 2 if you want to catch it another time. 1 if y'all want to continue and watch part 2 right now. 2 and put a 2 in the chat if you want to do it another time. So y'all let me know in the chat. While y'all type that, I'm gonna be trying to fix this lighting. Let's see. Y'all let me know. 1, okay, I'm seeing a lot of 1s, so let's get right into it then. This is, I think, like 40 minutes.
That's what I'm asking you.
You're asking me if I'm allowed to be here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What do you think?
Okay. I need you to leave, please.
I'm not going to leave.
Mendoza, your accident scene. Taking pictures of other people's vehicles and license plates, which is against the law.
Look at him.
Taking photography.
Not here, not right now, okay?
Okay. What are you going to do if I don't stop?
All I'm asking you to do, what you need to do is go over there.
You're not going to stop me from taking photography.
You work for the newspaper?
I don't have to work for the newspaper to take public photography.
Okay. But taking license plate pictures of license plates, you are not allowed to do.
You are also by law allowed to lie to me. That's incorrect information.
Right.
You actually can. and I can take all the videos of license plates that I want.
Okay. You go ahead and do that.
I will.
Do
Right.
you have your ID on you?
Do you have
Now
your
you're-
ID on you?
Now you're on our accident scene, so
Okay.
I want you to identify yourself.
I want you to identify
So,
yourself right now.
Officer Cable.
Badge number?
635.
And you? Now watch how I'm not going to give you my license.
Okay. Then I need you to remove yourself from this
I'm not
accident.
going to remove myself from this accident scene.
You're out here to this scene now.
You wanted to come here and intimidate me?
No, sir,
Let me
came
tell you
on
something
our
right now.
No, sir, let me
This
explain
is not
to
your
you.
accident scene. This is all public
Okay.
property.
You're
Okay?
coming up here taking pictures?
Yeah. First of all, lower your voice now.
Sir, I'm talking the same way.
No. You came here with a bad energy.
No, I asked what you were doing.
You're
here,
going to lower your voice now when you
and
talk
you
to me.
sat here and said I can be wherever I want.
Anywhere I want,
Okay.
yes.
All I asked you is why you're here taking photographs of other people's
None
property.
of your goddamn business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So are you going to identify yourself since you're part of this accident?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And why is that?
Because you are not my dad. Who do you think you are?
And you do not belong in this accident.
I can be anywhere I want.
You need to leave.
I'm not leaving.
Mendoza?
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. You're not going to tell me. You're not going to intimidate me out of here.
I don't understand what the purpose is.
What is your purpose of you being here right now? You have an accident scene. Go deal with it.
Okay, this accident's said and done. These records are now
Then
made.
walk away. You're dismissed. I don't need you here.
Okay, so this accident's over. Why are
Then
you
get the fuck out of here. I don't need you here. You're trying to intimidate me? 2 officers with guns?
No one's touching anything on that.
Then back away. Because if I had come to you this close, you would have arrested my ass.
You're
Now,
already
you need to-
on our scene, which is
I
interfering in
can
my
be here.
investigation.
I'm not interfering
Sir?
with your shit.
You need to put your finger out of my face.
You need to back up
Okay?
for me then.
I don't need to back up. This is my scene. This is his scene.
No, fuck you and your scene, man. I'm
Okay,
standing
you need
right
to
here.
leave now.
I'm not leaving anywhere.
Leave.
I'm
Go.
not leaving anywhere.
You need to
I'm
go.
not leaving anywhere. I'm not.
Now, on March 4th, 2022, how do you become aware of these?
Oh, this other officer.
It was the driver, Miss Vaughn, I believe her name was. She had whispered to me, like, who's that guy? I shrugged my shoulders, said, I don't know. And I just saw Officer Cable go up to him.
Okay, so was Officer Cable next to you when Miss Vaughn was questioning who Mr. Reyes was?
No, sir.
Okay, so you don't know. Do you know if Miss Vaughn reached out, said something to you or Cable first?
I don't know who she asked first.
Okay. Was it your understanding that that Mr. Reyes was committing a crime by filming an accident scene?
For him filming, and no, it's not a crime.
Okay. Did you hear Officer Cable state a couple of times to Mr. Reyes that he was breaking the law by filming or photographing license plates?
I remember Officer Cable was, again, just something about filming license plates, and that was against the law.
Okay, and you heard him say that to Mr. Reyes?
I believe he was saying it to me.
Okay. And at the time, did you think Mr. Cable was correct?
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know.
Okay. Have you ever heard before whether or not it was lawful to or unlawful to film or photograph license plates?
I had heard about it from training. So that's why once I was told that, I just didn't know. I had to dig deep into my brain, and I couldn't figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a
When
tremendous
Officer
statement.
Cable told you that Mr. Reyes was breaking the law by filming or photographing license plates in public, you really weren't sure whether or not that's
We're not gonna just glide past that. He said he had to dig deep in his brain and he couldn't find nothing.
I wasn't sure. No, sir.
If Officer Cable had not called you over, would you have gone to interact with Mr. Reyes?
I would have for Miss Vaughn.
You would have what?
I would have for Mrs. Vaughn, because she asked who was that.
Okay. And so if a bystander asked you to go identify somebody, you would do that?
I would have never identified him.
Okay, so what were you going to do then?
Just talk to him, see he was okay.
See if he was okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was it your understanding whether Mr. Reyes would have had to answer any questions?
Yeah, I understood. He didn't have to answer any questions.
Okay. When you came over,
So they know.
Officer Cable
Yeah, it was still arrested.
to you that Reyes was photographing license plates. Did you think that Mr. Reyes was committing any crimes?
I did not know at the time.
Okay. At any time, did you suspect Mr. Reyes of committing any crime on March 4, 2022?
On that day, I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know.
Okay. You understand what probable cause is?
For a crime to be committed?
Before you arrest somebody,
Yeah.
you need probable
Yes.
cause?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have probable cause at any point on March 4, 2022 to arrest Mr. Reyes?
I did not know.
You didn't know if you had probable cause?
I didn't know the whole situation.
Okay. So you at least thought, hey, maybe I just need to investigate this?
It was just a lot of thinking going on and no action being taken.
No action. Before the physical interaction, how many times did you tell?
You mean the
Mr. Reyes
opposite of what you just said?
I don't know.
Was it more than once?
I don't know.
Y'all call
Were
that
you
thinking?
concerned for Mr. Reyes' safety?
At the time,
You asked him to leave, right? Why did you ask him to leave?
with us being
No, they
on
weren't concerned
the
about it.
frontage road of a busy highway, I didn't want debris hitting them, car hitting all of us. I remember just pointing to Officer Cagle's patrol car, and I don't remember.
Hold on, y'all. I'm so glad we went ahead and went through with this, because this one is going to be even more funny than the last one. I can tell how it started off right now. This guy is absolutely. They asked him, "Did you care about Mr. Ray's safety?" You seen that long pause? Like, no, we didn't even think about. We didn't consider nothing about his safety.
Remember exactly what I told him, but it was
Okay, at the time, you're talking about a busy frontage road. The lane near the stop sign was blocked off, right?
correct.
And you had the truck drivers for the wreckers. They were in the street, right?
Yeah, man.
Correct.
You had the what were they? Were they firemen? Were they medics? Who was out on the scene with you?
I remember the firefighters being out there.
Okay, the firefighters. They were also in the street, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then the two individuals that were involved in the accident, they were also in the street.
I don't know where they were.
Okay, you didn't see them going up and down the street checking out the condition of their vehicles?
I remember one of them on the street, the male driver. I don't remember his name.
Okay, but you saw him in the street around the time Mr. Reyes was present?
I don't remember if Mr. Reyes was present yet or not.
Okay, did you ever tell the male individual to get off the street?
No, sir.
Okay. Were you not concerned for his safety?
At the time, I was, but I didn't think about it.
Okay, did you tell any of the drivers of the wrecker trucks to get out of the street?
No, they were picking up the vehicles.
Okay, but they were in the street, right?
Correct.
Okay, they were not in their vehicles, but they were actually in the street of that busy frontage road.
The record drivers.
Yes.
Correct.
And the firefighters were also in that same street, the blocked off area.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Did you tell any of those individuals to get out of the street?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you tell any of those individuals to leave?
No, no, sir. They were part of the scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you heard Officer Cable testify. Well, I don't want to assume. Did you hear how far Officer Cable testified that Mr. Reyes is standing from the scene?
Do you want me to say if I heard
Yes.
it? Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. What do you recall him saying?
He said, I believe he said, Mr. Reyes was on the curb.
Yeah, about how many feet from the accident scene?
It was he was right where the accident scene had happened, about 5 feet or so, because it was right there. Once you exit off, the crash happened right there where the curve curves.
Okay, but at the time Mr. Reyes was present, vehicles had already been moved, right?
Correct, sir.
So when you first observed Mr. Reyes, how far was he standing from the scene?
From where the vehicles were currently?
Yes,
I don't know.
it was more than 5 feet.
It was more than 5 feet, yes, sir.
Okay. As a matter of fact, if no one had alerted you to Mr. Reyes' presence, you wouldn't even know.
Correct.
Okay, because he wasn't. He was standing on a curb by a stop sign, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It would be labeled under a use of force report.
Okay. And when are you required to complete that form?
I was always told whenever a taser is deployed, and whenever force is used that injures a suspect or somebody else.
Okay. And are you aware of the city of Lake Jackson's use of force policy?
I was just told it by FTO, not the by word verbatim.
Okay. Do you recall ever seeing the by word verbatim use of force policy?
No, sir. They gave me a policy procedures book. I went through it, but I don't know exactly word for word what the policy stated of use of force.
Okay. So it's just what FTO, field training officer?
Field training officer, yes.
What they would have told you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is it your understanding that force was used on March 4, 2022 against Mr. Reyes?
Do you mean excessive force? Just force? Yes, force was used.
Is it your understanding that Mr. Reyes was injured as a result of that force?
Yes, I knew he was injured.
Okay, so based on your understanding at the time of what the policy was, should there have been a use of force report completed in this incident?
If I was told to do a use of force report, I would have done it.
Do you have any discussions with any City of Lake Jackson employee concerning the preparation of a use of force report on this for this March 4th, 2022 incident?
No.
Okay, did anyone ask you, any City of Lake Jackson employee ask you whether or not you completed a use of force report?
No, no one approached me.
Okay, but it's your understanding that the City of Lake Jackson does have a use of force report?
It's a template, yes, sir.
A template. And you understand that the City of Lake Jackson, at least you were told, has a policy requiring a use of force report?
Yes, sir, there is a policy, right?
Okay. So why were you, why did you not complete the use of force report?
At the time, I was just told to do an incident report.
Okay, so is it your understanding then that the policy for completing a report is dependent on whether someone else tells you to do it?
That's just the way I've never done a use of force report. And so I was just waiting for, all I was told by the supervisor was just do the initial report. Video's the best evidence you got.
And is it common practice for you to review your video before?
Video is the best evidence you got.
I always have.
Okay. So sitting here today, do you recall?
Video is the best evidence you got. Video is the best evidence you got. Video is the best evidence you got. If you're not recording, I don't know what you're doing.
If Officer Cable had told Mr. Reyes if he did not leave, he would be arrested.
Looking back at it, I don't remember.
Okay. If Officer Cable did tell Mr. Reyes he would be arrested, did you agree with that?
Okay.
Was Mr. Reyes breaking the law for not leaving?
Again, at the time, I didn't know.
Did you have enough information to make a decision as to whether or not to arrest Mr. Reyes for not leaving?
Again, I didn't know at the time.
What is that?
Prior to Officer Cable's deposition today, that he was asked a couple of times to resign.
Was I aware of that?
Yes.
I was not aware of that.
You were going to receive a period of unpaid leave?
Correct.
Okay, what period of unpaid leave did you receive?
Are you talking about how many days, hours?
Yes.
It was 24 hours.
24 hours?
Yes, sir.
1 day?
And did you actually, how did that work? Did you actually miss a day of work, or did you just turn in 24 hours of leave?
No, Lieutenant James Cromings set up that time. As I worked at the time, I was on patrol, so I just took off. I believe it was a Monday, Tuesday. I don't really remember.
Okay, so you actually took time off of work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then it also says that you'd be required to participate in remedial training.
Correct.
Have you completed that?
I was never given a list of exactly what training I needed.
That means no.
Just whenever a class came up that was available, that they would instruct me to go to that class.
Okay, so the City of Lake Jackson, I guess police department would tell you what classes to take?
Correct, sir.
Okay, have they told you since March 4th, 2022, which classes to take?
I've taken a couple, but I don't really exactly know which ones, what their name title is.
Okay. Did you take any classes on
Basically
filming police activity?
I really don't remember.
Okay. Well, sitting here today, do you know if it's against the law or not for somebody to film police activity?
He's sitting here today. Yeah, yes, I know that.
Okay, so how do you know that?
Just the fact that I was just told that after the fact.
Who told you that?
Lieutenant James Cromings clarified it to me during the internal affairs.
Okay, so there wasn't a class or anything you took?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Following week, you were told by Lieutenant
Assistant Chief Anderson.
Okay.
Y'all hit the like button.
Tell you why you
were the 30.
It was policy violation.
Which policy?
I believe. I don't remember.
Okay. Were you ever being? Do you know if you were being investigated for use of force?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Okay. Did anyone question you on using force on Mr. Reyes?
As in, what did I do with the whole situation, or
yes,
during the internal affairs interview with Lieutenant James Cromings? Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it your understanding that you were disciplined? Were you disciplined for using force on Mr. Reyes?
To my understanding, I was disciplined for a policy violation.
Okay, for what policy violation?
I don't remember the exact name of it.
Okay. Do you agree with the City of Lake Jackson's determination that you violated a policy?
Well, I didn't contest it, so
You didn't contest it because it was a 24-hour unpaid leave.
it was yes, sir, 24-hour suspension.
But do you agree with the city's assessment that you violated a policy?
Correct.
You do agree with it?
I believe the process was fair.
Okay. Do you agree that you violated a policy?
I mean, I don't know. I did my interview. I took the discipline. I didn't contest it. That's all I can say.
That means you violated policy.
Sitting here today, you don't know what policy you allegedly violated.
I would have to look back at my chief's letter.
Wow.
And you did receive a copy of the letter from the chief.
That's correct, sir.
Wow.
Do you think that your performance on March 4, 2022 was unsatisfactory?
I believe so. Just
what they are.
I don't know. Just
Usually when
we all make
happens,
mistakes.
that means that class was not relevant to anything.
Are you sorry for what happened, Mr. Reyes, on March 4, 2022?
I'm just
No.
feel bad for the whole situation in general.
Why do they always say that?
For Mr. Reyes?
Yes.
For Mr. Reyes,
No.
like I said, I just feel bad for that whole situation, that whole day in general.
Listen, oh my goodness.
Looking at Reyes 2, it says
Wow.
3.
They cannot say, wow. They cannot say they feel bad for you. They don't feel bad for you. That's basically what he's saying without saying it. That's basically what both of them said without saying it. Why can't they just respond to that? That's basic. Wow. So, hey, do you feel bad about violating man's rights and tackling him to the ground? Do you feel bad about tackling him to the ground, violating his rights when he wasn't committing any crime or doing anything wrong? In fact, you were actually in the wrong for attacking him and bothering him and harassing him. Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad for him having to go through that in the situation? I feel bad about the whole situation. Everybody involved, meaning I'm sorry that I'm in this deposition right now. I wish I would never got here. Yes, I feel bad for that. But do you feel bad for Mr. Reyes specifically? All I can say is I feel bad for the entire. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on. Look at him. Come on, man. Terrible.
3 days off without pay. Do you know if it was 3 days or 1 day?
It was 24 hours. That's all I remember.
Okay, and then it says within the next month.
What's up, Cajun?
Training in the subject matter of First Amendment law.
Cajun Randy.
I see that.
So within a month of this letter, did you attend remedial training in the subject matter of First Amendment law and de-escalation?
I don't remember the exact time frame, sir.
And it says you will be placed on a 12-week performance improvement plan where your performance will be strictly monitored for specific deficiencies in the areas noted in this investigation.
Correct.
So were you placed on a 12-week performance improvement plan?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so were you did you receive doing evaluations during that 12 weeks?
No, sir.
Okay. Other than this incident here, the March 4, 2022 incident, have you received any kind of written reprimand from the city of Lake Jackson?
So, like any disciplinary action?
Yes.
Right up.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay.
Right.
So you do you recall though?
No feelings.
You said you don't remember exactly, but do you recall taking a
No
First
human.
Amendment law training since March 4, 2022?
I don't know. I would have to refer back to my training calendar.
Okay, but sitting here today,
That's it.
you don't know if Mr. Reyes would have a right to film police officers.
Actually, it's kind of reputation.
Looking back at it, yes.
That was a lie. Look at him. Can't sit in his own skin, man. Can't even sit in his own
Thank
skin.
you.
Okay. This will be exhibit number 6 to your deposition.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Video is the best evidence. You heard it right from the officer.
I'm sorry, man.
Randy, he need to coach this. He can't think.
Posted on there.
He can't think.
Also, where I want you to go.
He doesn't remember anything.
I'm on it, sir.
Brain doesn't work.
Do you see where on July 10th, 2019, you took a civilian interaction training course through the Missouri County Sheriff's Academy?
I see it, sir.
Exhibit 2 to Officer Hagel's deposition
It's crazy.
was that
all they
particular
do.
course.
That's all they do.
Go to the last page.
Oh, it's Lieutenant Second Class.
You see that 3.3?
I didn't know. That wasn't
3.3.
I was just there on.
Yes, sir, I see it.
Do you recall getting some information, sir, when you took that course at the Missouri County Sheriff's Academy, Sheriff's Department, on civilian interaction training and how in the state of Texas people are entitled to video police activities?
I see it here, sir, but I don't remember.
I understand you took the course in 2019, right?
Yes, sir.
This happened in 2022, right?
Correct, sir.
So 3 years passed, roughly, right?
Yes, sir.
But you see, you got some training on it, right, sir?
Correct, sir.
So when you asked questions earlier about if you received any training on the right of citizens to film police activity, do you see now you did get that, sir?
I do see it. Yes, sir.
All right, now
Wow.
go to, again, good, put that down, and go to, this will be the second page of the exhibit.
I like that one. That's always a lot there, man.
Do you see at the top of that page, course number 77250?
Yes, sir. I see it.
You see the date that course was taken?
It says April 7th, 2022.
Yes, sir. What's the title of that course?
It says OSS Recording Police Actions.
Do you remember what was discussed about recording police action, sir?
On the class?
Yes, sir. That little online course you took 1 month roughly after this event.
Verbatim on the online course, sir, I don't remember. It was a 1-hour course.
I get it. But the topic was recording police actions, right, sir?
Correct, sir.
And that's what this issue was, about recording of police actions, right?
Correct, sir.
So in talking about your remedial training, do you think you got some where they ordered it when you took that recording police action, sir?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now, you can put that down.
Yes, sir.
You can put that down.
Wow.
When you were going through your field training,
Bro,
the FTO was with you. Were there any discussions with your FTO? I thought I remembered your testimony earlier in this, that your field training officer discussed the right of people to video with you. Did that happen?
Correct, sir.
So in addition to taking a course in 2019 about that, your field training officer also discussed that, right?
Correct, sir.
Now, that policy violation, it was, I thought I wrote it down there. Oh, unsatisfactory performance by a sworn officer. That was a policy violation, right, sir?
Correct, sir. Yes, I believe so.
Do you know that that's consistent with Rule 111, sir?
I'm sorry, sir. I don't.
Do you know there's a Rule 111 policy manual? Do you have a policy?
It was given to me the day of my last interview. It was a big, thick book. Yeah.
Typically it is.
Yeah.
And it's got lots of stuff in there, and one of which is that little unsatisfactory performance by an officer.
Okay.
For example, if you get training on the right of Texans to video, and that's a course you took at the Missouri County Sheriff's Academy. You take that course. Then during your field training, your FTO, your field training officer, discusses that with you as well, right?
Correct, sir.
So you got two information sources about the right of citizens to video. Understand that, sir?
Understand, sir.
Now, if you don't follow that information, do you think that that would be unsatisfactory performance by an officer?
Correct, sir.
So now you know why you got that policy violation, right?
Correct, sir.
Okay, I want to be perfectly clear on this record. If there is any testimony by you on this record indicated that you did not recall the city of Lake Jackson giving you training about the right of Texans to video police activity, that would not be an accurate statement now that you've looked at your training records. True?
Correct, sir.
And if anyone were to suggest that you didn't get any remedial training on recording police actions based on your review of Exhibit 6, you see that happen on April 7th, 2022, true?
Yes, sir. I see it.
I guess you were being asked by counsel about people coming off the highway at speeds and Reyes being on the corner. I want to ask you this: as a licensed peace officer, is it against the law for a citizen to stand on a corner curb next to a frontage road?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Have you ever detained any citizen for standing on a curb next to a frontage road?
No, sir. I've never arrested anybody.
Okay, so regardless of what the accident scene or anything going on, the danger of Mr. Reyes getting hit by a speeding vehicle was present regardless if you were there or not.
Yes.
Now, you were asked about your incident report specifically at Exhibit 7. I guess in the title, it says that the offense is incident use of force. When you go into the RMS system, are there like drop-down categories you can pick from?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so incident use of force, is that a drop-down category?
I don't know.
Okay, and so do you know why you would have picked incident use of force as the offense?
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't even remember if I picked it or not.
Okay, could someone else have picked this for you?
Only supervisors.
Okay, so if it says supervisor was Lieutenant Cromies, could he have been the one to pick this for you?
I don't know.
Okay. And so, separate from listing an offense as a use of force, is it your understanding that the city of Lake Jackson has a separate use of force report?
It is a template, yes, sir.
Okay, and it's a template that would actually be routed through your chain of command?
The template would be, the supervisor will tell you to do the template in the event of a use of force incident, and you attach it to the report. And I'm sorry, a separate report, but they're linked.
Okay, so had you ever filled out one of those?
No, sir, I've never filled out one of those.
Have you been trained by the city of Lake Jackson on how to fill out one of those reports?
No, sir.
If all the lanes were open for travel, and Mr. Reyes was standing on that corner, was he committing a crime?
At the time, I don't know.
Okay, did you ever see Mr. Reyes go into the roadway?
I didn't witness it, no, sir.
Okay, so the entire time that you observed Mr. Reyes, he was on a grass easement?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
Okay. All right, no further questions. Thank you.